50 degrees, clear skies, a little bit cloudy, and a slight drizzle in Ann Arbor, Michigan at Ray Fisher Stadium. Zach Linfield and William Gregory with you, getting ready for a midweek matchup between Michigan and the visiting Oakland Golden Grizzlies of the Horizon League. Michigan at 13 and 10, coming off taking 2 of 3 against the Cornhuskers in Lincoln, Nebraska, including a 6-1 win to clinch that series Sunday, Will.
Matt Fry led the way for the Wolverines with 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Jimmy Overtop also had 2 hits in that one. The Wolverines scored early, and they scored often. 2 runs in the second inning, and then 2 runs in the seventh. Closed out with a Fry single in the ninth to clinch it against the reigning Big Ten champion Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Michigan, they're sitting at 13 and 10. It's easy to say that's a series win that they needed if they want to go on and win the Big Ten in mid-May. What do you think exactly is going through the head of Coach Bakich? And I'm sure it's got to be positive after taking 2 of 3 against the Big Ten reigning champs.
Definitely, and including the last series before that against Dayton, they did drop a game at Xavier. They played close against Vanderbilt. We were there in Nashville to call that game. Over the last couple games, the past 2 weeks, the Wolverines have played really well overall, I think. I think it bodes well for the rest of the season as they are starting to get into the middle of Big Ten play, and the team should pick up their play. I think they're definitely more talented than a team that's only 13 and 10. So hopefully they can assert what we think they can become against this Golden Grizzlies squad.
Talk about the pitching lineup today. Oakland will start number 27, Travis Denmore. This is a battle of 2 pitchers that have 11 and up ERAs on the season. Both guys don't have many starts under their belt, especially Michigan's Logan Wood. But first, Denmore for Oakland, a 1-0 record, 9 innings pitched. He's allowed 23 hits, 11 earned runs. He's only allowed 1 homer on the season. He'll face off against Michigan's left-handed relief man, Logan Wood. He can pitch long relief, he can pitch short relief. But this is his first collegiate start on the hill at Ray Fisher Stadium. 0-1, 11 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 16 hits, 15 earned runs. His K to walk ratio 11-9, so it's up there. And he's also allowed 1 home run. So a battle of 2 lefties, 2 guys with pretty high ERAs. What do you expect from these 2 lefties in today's game, Will?
And you mentioned what I was going to talk about with Logan Wood. That strikeout to walk ratio is definitely not what you want, especially in a pitcher who has only thrown in relief so far this year. Look for him to try and control his velocity, tamp it down a bit, try and get more pitches in the strike zone and avoid throwaway balls that aren't needed. And then for Densmore, it's just a tough ask for any mid-major pitcher to go up against a lineup that's as talented as the Wolverines. I mean, leading off Clark Elliott, then you got Ted Burton, Matt Fry, Jimmy Overtop. That's a great 1 through 4. And Densmore has not proven so far this year. He is a junior. He's not a young player, but he hasn't proven that he can string together consistent outings. I mean, 11 earned runs in 9 innings speaks for itself.
Let's look at today's starting lineups. We'll start with the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. Batting first, the center fielder, number 1, Seth Tucker. Batting second, the second baseman, number 3, Brad Goulet. Batting third, the left fielder, number 5, Cam Post. Batting fourth, the third baseman, number 13, Brandon Nye. Fifth, the designated hitter, number 6, Michael Steigels. Batting sixth, the right fielder, number 8, Brenton Phillips. Batting seventh, first baseman, 15, Jared Miller. Batting eighth, shortstop, number 2, Thomas Green. Batting ninth, the catcher, number 30, Brandon Heidel. For the Wolverines, batting first, right fielder, number 15, Clark Elliott. Second baseman, number 3, Ted Burton. Batting third, the third baseman, number 24, Matt Fry. Batting fourth, the designated hitter today, Jimmy Overtop. Batting fifth, left fielder, 22, Tito Flores. Batting sixth, the center fielder, number 5, Joe Stewart. Batting seventh, the shortstop, number 12, Riley Bertram. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 51, Jack Van Remortel. And batting ninth, the catcher, number 50, Casey Buckley. William, we got to talk about today's keys to the game as the starting lineups have been announced by the Ray Fisher Stadium public address announcer. The Wolverines at 13 and 10, the Golden Grizzlies at 10 and 12. What are your keys to the game for both sides today?
Michigan to get out early and often, just like they did in that Nebraska game. I think you want to strike right away against a team that's looking for an upset, like Oakland is today. and then you just want to continue that consistency throughout the game. I don't think that waiting until the end of the game to finally wake up your offense is a good plan of action. And then for Oakland, um, they just need Travis Densmore to pitch, better than he has all year. That is the only way that they're going to win this game. I don't think that they'll be able to outpace Michigan on offense. Once you get past their fourth hitter, Brandon Nye, the batting averages and the statistics start to get ugly. If Oakland wants to challenge the Wolverines today, Densmore has to pitch well.
Spoke about Oakland. They had a game last night. They played against Saginaw Valley State, a D2 opponent. But these midweek games, William, these are no pushover. Especially Michigan's got to be wary of these if they want to go on and have a great record. D1Baseball.com today listed them as a prospective 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Now, this team has potential. You just said all about it. However, for Michigan to move on and end up being a 2 seed, what would you like to see more of out of Eric Bakkich's squad?
Obviously, the pitching has been a disappointment so far this year. Noah Renard has been lights out in the innings he's thrown in relief, but personally, we saw Willie Weiss choke out a game against Vanderbilt, and the other bullpen arms have not really been great this year. Starting pitching with Connor O'Halloran has been a bright spot, but I think it really just comes back to keeping your arms level and under control. You really just want to look for, at least sub-5 ERAs, but the Wolverines have been struggling to get, enough pitchers under that threshold so far this year.
The Wolverines have taken the field, and we're about to go to the national anthem. William and I were going to take a break, and we'll be back live in a couple of minutes to give you Oakland and Michigan on this Wednesday night baseball midweek matchup on WCBN. Welcome back in, everybody. Michigan and Oakland is set to do battle here on Wednesday night inside Ray Fisher Stadium. Michigan on defense. We'll start in the outfield. Tito Flores, Joe Stewart in center field. Clark Elliott is in right. And then from left to right across the infield, Fry, Bertram, Burton, Van Remortel. And behind the plate today is Buckley. On the mound for the Wolverines is Logan Wood. And Wood, an 11.57 ERA, making his first collegiate start. Wood's got a good fastball. He knows how to paint the corners, but he's got a devastating hammer of a curve, and he's going to need that today to keep the Oakland hitters off balance, especially if he wants to go 2 to 3 innings plus.
Definitely, and the problem I see so far with Logan Wood is that, he just hasn't pitched well. against leadoff hitters, he's allowing, a hit almost 64% of the time. And that is just not sustainable if you want to be a starting pitcher at the Big Ten level. Um, you know, let's just see what he can do in his first start this season. It is an easier matchup against Oakland rather than a Big Ten team. I'm hopeful to see what he can do today, um, and I'm excited to see what Michigan can do against Oakland.
Michigan in their navy blue hats with the black M centered on it, and the white uniforms with the black M on the top right side of the chest. Oakland in their golden jerseys, black lettering, black helmets, and the gray pants. Logan Wood ready to finish up his warm-up series. Wearing a blue mitt, and it's not necessarily the blue that you typically see from a Wolverine. It's not navy blue. It's a bit of a teal blue. I don't know, coastal Carolina-ish.
I've seen that blue a lot recently. It's a nice color, but the thing that catches my eye, right behind home plate, we got two red sweatshirt wearers. A little bit weird. It's not often that I see red on this campus. We saw green on St. Patty's Day, but it's never really
Well,
red.
that's fair. Even on St. Patty's Day when you're supposed to wear green, I'm sure the Michigan faithful are typically revolting against that. Oakland in those golden uniforms. The lead off the top of the first inning, and it's Seth Tucker, 340 batter. His right foot on the back of the chalk. In Ann Arbor, let's play ball. Logan Wood will work out of the stretch. First pitch low and in, and shuffling out of the way is Tucker. First pitch is at 4:03. Wood a slower set. Leg kick delivery, and he paints the top right part of the corner. And Tucker just looks at it go by. It's a 1-1 count. Umpires today behind the plate, Mike Martin. First base, Michael Curtis. Second base, Nathan Thompson. And at third base, Thomas Burrell Jr. The 1-1 from Wood is up and in. Turning out of the way is Tucker.
Just like we talked about, they really need Wood to lower the amount of balls he throws. He has a poor strikeout to walk ratio, and a 2-1 count on the first hitter of the game is not the situation you want to be in.
He delivers one right down the middle, and it's popped back to the screen. It's a 2-2 count, and here's where we typically see the curveball from Logan Wood. It's a big hooking curveball, more of the 12-6 variety. Wood into his set. Stares down Tucker for the 2-2. Up and out. Fills up the count.
Tucker's had a good eye thus far. Laid off a couple pitches that could have kissed the plate a little bit. See if Logan Wood can manufacture an out here.
The lefty delivers a 3-2. Swung on and a line drive left side. Bobbled by Bertram. Fires over to first, and Van Mortal's stretch is not enough. Safe at first base is Tucker, and we'll see what that goes down as in the scorebook, as Bertram just saw a short hop creep up into his chest, and he wasn't able to deliver in time.
And if Bertram picked that ball cleanly, that's a routine throw from a shortstop to the first baseman to get the out. He bobbled it on the catch and on the transfer, and Tucker took advantage of it.
Goulet steps into the box for Oakland. 280 batter. He has 2 homers on the season as Wood will check over to first base, and in there safely is Tucker.
And Tucker has 11 stolen bases so far in the year, only caught stealing twice. He is a threat on the base paths. And it looks like Wood will be looking over to him quite a bit in this at bat.
Wood comes set, delivers, strike high and outside. Looking at it again is Goulet. The Oakland hitter is not showing too much aggression so far, as Tucker allowed it to go to a full count before hitting a line drive short hop Over to the shortstop, Bertram. Cam Post, a 263 batter, awaits on deck. Wood comes set to the belt. Deep breath, checks over at Tucker and delivers to Goulet. He checked his swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Evens up the count 1-1. You got to feel for Logan Wood the nerves of going into your first collegiate start. And as you mentioned too, it's a midweek opportunity for him, so it's not a Big Ten game. No harm, no foul. So he delivers the 1-1. He has been painting the outside corner when he hits the strike zone, but you got to feel the nerves are still going to get to him.
Definitely, and those location near misses are, the difference between this level and the next level that Michigan hopes he can reach as he gets older. You can afford to have those painted corners called balls instead of strikes right now.
1-2 popped into the air, ranging foul, and Buckley ran out of room.
But when the stakes are a little bit more higher, you need Logan Wood to be executing. I think this is a great move by the Wolverine coaching staff to send Wood out for a low stakes situation, but definitely I feel for him in his first college start. And with the pressure of, a Wednesday at the end of March, school is in full swing right now.
Wood comes into his set, a 1-2 to Goulet, and he checks over to Seth Tucker, who is hanging out at first base. Having good conversation with Jack Vandermortel, who returns for Michigan after injuring his hand down in North Carolina. And Wood delivers a curveball to the left side, and it's by the sliding fry into left field. Flores scoops it up and dumps it into the infield for Bertram. And Oakland now has 2 hits on 2 plate attempts, and Logan Wood will have to battle against the 3-hitter Cam Post. Runners on first and second.
And unlike that hit to Bertram at shortstop, that was laced right by Matt Fry, and I don't really think he would have had a chance to play that ball. Even if he did catch it, he probably would have been splayed out on the infield dirt. I guess it's still turf on a turf field, but just a spot where nobody's going to get to that hit. Tough play to make, at least for the Wolverines. It's only a single.
Got to be conscientious of the turf right now as well. It's been raining for about the past hour. It looks as if it's settled down. But the oversliding is very possible on turf fields in baseball as Wood delivers the first one to Post. It's a strike on the outside corner. Post had to make his way almost across the plate and turn to the home plate umpire, who is Mike Martin today, and have a word with him. 0-1.
You talk about those turf fields. That's what I was surprised about when I attended my first couple college baseball games. I'm used to the grass of Major League Baseball. So it's weird to see a turf field. I've seen it for softball, but for baseball, it's a bit outlandish.
Wood misses outside, and that'll even up the count at 1-1. These Oakland hitters are really working the count against Wood early in this first inning. A 263 batter is Cam Post. No homers on the season, has 4 doubles. Getting well off second base is Tucker, and Wood will look back at him with no coverage on the base paths from Burton. And that will allow Buckley to go and have a chat with the youngster Logan Wood.
And Post is a regular player for the Golden Grizzlies. In his opportunities with runners in scoring position, he hits .346, which is, a great average to have, especially in the 5 spot. He only hits .263, like you said, Zach.
Oh, Post swung on it, and it went directly back to his left ankle.
We'll see how that affects the rest of his at bat, because he had a grimace on his face when he went down. But to have somebody who hits better with runners on than off is a luxury to have when he's not one of your top tier hitters.
Count sits at 1-2. And although not much power from the 3 spot, Post has 11 walks, 10 strikeouts. There's a ball that's laced down the left field line, high up into the air. Flores ranges over, and it is foul off the brick wall. And Tito will have to go and retrieve his cap which lays silently in left field, and returning to the plate is Post. But he got a hold of that one, low and in, and he just golf swung on it. And Post almost put a 3 spot on Michigan in the top of the first.
That was exactly, the could have been the worst outcome for the Wolverines in the top of the first inning to let up a 3-run shot. Post got a hold of that ball. I thought it was gone. I thought it was going to be fair. Luckily for the Wolverines, it goes just foul.
Let's do the 1-2 dance again. Low outside, swung on and missed. First strikeout of the game for Logan Wood. Cam Post down on strikes. 1 gone in the inning, runners on first and second.
That was a nice breaking ball there from Wood. Just kind of dropped the bottom off that one. Cam Post couldn't keep up. He did not have a full swing. Looked like in the middle of his swing, he was saying to himself, do I really want to swing at this? He just couldn't hold off in time. First strikeout for Wood of the day.
And that'll bring up Brandon Nye. Hits in 1 out of 3 at-bats, a .333 batter. He watches one go right down the middle. And Wood is ahead 0-1. Now, he's done a good job of getting ahead against these 3 batters so far for Oakland. However, with runners on first and second, he's just left balls in spots he didn't want to put them, and that resulted in 2 base hits for the Grizzlies.
And if you're Oakland, you want Nye to get a hit here. Once you get past the 4 spot in the lineup, that's when the offense really drops off.
The 0-1 from Wood just misses low and out, and I had a look back at the umpire and was like, don't call this one on me. 1-1.
But Nye with a .333 average, .464 on base, .600 slug. That is a powerful hitter hitting cleanup for the Golden Grizzlies. He hits a little bit worse with runners on base than without. Only about a .300 average with runners on base, .312 with runners in scoring position.
1-1 from Wood. He turns and looks at Tucker again.
And Tucker and Goulet with 16 stolen bases this year between them. They've only been caught 3 times. A big danger on the base paths. That's why you see Wood stepping off so often in this inning.
It's a very veteran lineup for the Golden Grizzlies. 6 out of their 9 starters in the lineup today have the senior class name next to them. And the 1-1 is low and in.
That's a good sign for a mid-major program to have so many older players. It allows for more experience and more growth athletically for these players to be able to step up and match at least a little bit better than the younger players would against a Big Ten powerhouse like Michigan.
The 2-1. Swung on, line drive, left field, that's down. Stewart will come on for it, and he will decide not to go 4. Coming around second to score is Tucker, and Oakland has a 1-0 lead here in the first.
And that was a great at-bat by Nye to hold off, wait for the pitch he likes, drop a single in between the shortstop, center fielder, and left fielder, drops it in, and now you get to Michael Steigels, who is only a .186 hitter on the year. Nye was the last hitter in the Oakland lineup, hitting 4th that you would expect to knock a single, to knock a runner in. It's just fortunate that Michigan did not have Goulet try and leg it out to 3rd.
It seemed like Stewart had an opportunity to try and throw out the speedy Seth Tucker. Decided not to take the chance, and you figure if he would have tried to go home with the ball, that Goulet probably would have tried at 3rd. Wood's first pitch to Steigels was a strike. It's 0-1.
And Joe Stewart, he's experienced in center field. He's a graduate student. He knows to hold off on that play. He expects Goulet to try and go to 3rd if he makes that throw to home, and there's no guarantee he gets Tucker at home.
The 0-1 to Steigels, bounces into Buckley, cleans it up nicely, throws the ball back to Wood. It's 1-1. Logan Wood, 6'2", 180. Sophomore from Macomb, Michigan, attended Orchard Lake St. Mary's Prep School. 2-time All-State selection at OLSM. And Orchard 2019 Gatorade Player of the Year.
Orchard Lake St. Mary's, one of the powerhouses producing college talent in Metro Detroit.
Here's a sharp ground ball through the gap on the left side. Coming home to score is Goulet, and he's going to be challenged by Flores. Throw not in time, and Oakland is knocking the ball through the left side against the Wolverines currently. It's a 2-0 spread for the Golden Grizzlies against Logan Wood in his first start. And you figure this may prop a visit from Coach Eric Bakich as the bullpen gets going early.
And it is now a high-pressure situation for Logan Wood. We talked about facing off against a mid-major team in the middle of a week. It might not be exactly a pressure cooker, but in his first collegiate start, Logan Wood has not looked good. He's been allowing too much contact, and it hasn't really been soft. We've seen 3 hits in between second and third base. That was the second hit that just got by Matt Fry, the third baseman. He has not really been giving his defense any chance to make plays on these ground balls. Bertram did bobble that first hit by Tucker at shortstop, but even then, most likely there'd still be a run on the board for Oakland.
Michigan's had a 2-game, or 2-day that is, break between the last time they saw a diamond. That was in Lincoln, Nebraska on Sunday. However, Oakland, they're fresh. They had a game last night against Saginaw Valley State in which they won that game by a considerable margin. So, in your personal opinion, William, who's got the advantage? A team that's been off for 2 or 3 days now, coming off of a win in Michigan, or a team that played last night, used up a midweek arm, probably one of their bullpen guys that just needed a little bit more experience on the hill against SVSU, and then coming to Michigan, who, in your opinion, has the advantage there?
In my opinion, and I think it translates to Major League Baseball as well, I really like when a team is not coming off an extended rest period. Baseball is a game about rhythm and repetition. I think with Oakland coming off that win last night, they're in a better spot to be feeling it coming into this game rather than Michigan coming off a break.
First pitch to Brenton Phillips, low and in. Large lead at second base for Nye as Burton shadows him. Wood delivers home, swung on and missed. A beautiful pitch that skied right past the shoelaces of number 8, Brenton Phillips.
And even with Steigels and Nye on base, Oakland is not shy about attempting steals. Steigels has 4 stolen bases on the year, and Nye has 2. And Nye, the third baseman, and Steigels, the DH, not what you really see from power hitters to be able to get out there and steal bases.
And that pitch is swung on and missed. That's a beautiful changeup that Logan Wood just delivered straight through the strike zone, and Brenton Phillips went fishing.
And you allow that hit to Steigels if you're Wood. You get Phillips coming up now. He's a 222 hitter, doesn't even slug above 300. It's only 292. This is the section of the lineup that you want to get your 2 outs and get out of this inning quickly. Hopefully, salvage some sort of a good start.
Logan Wood swung on and missed. Down goes Phillips, and a quick throw down to second base from Buckley to try and backpick Nye. And the ball almost went errantly into center field, but Logan Wood, 2 strikeouts now, both swinging. He got post, and now he's got Phillips. 2 outs in the inning. Oakland has a 2-0 lead on 4 hits. Runner still on first and second base.
And we'll see if Buckley not being the regular catcher factors in to this game at all. That was a really high throw. Nice snag by Ted Burton to avoid it going into center field. But Jimmy Obertop DHing today instead of his normal catching assignment.
Another large lead for Nye as Wood sees a bouncer, a Baltimore chop right off the plate. Is called foul into the mid of Buckley. And Buckley had 3 caught stealings against Xavier in their loss last week 8-2. So it's not very often that you'll see a backup catcher, and I'm sure they knew that Obertop was playing the DH position like he usually will in a midweek game. But Buckley, against a really fast Musketeers team, caught 3. The 0-1 to Wood is a sharp ground ball towards the shortstop. Beautiful play by Bertram, but safe at second base is Steigels. So that'll be an infield single for Jared Miller, and that'll bring up Thomas Green, a 277 batter, with the bases loaded here in the first.
And it's just been an inning full of close misses. It seems like every single ground ball that's gone into the infield has been so far away from the infielder's mitt that they just can't make a play. We've seen it twice with Matt Fry and now twice with Riley Bertram. It's not like Wood has been pitching great today, but I think he is getting unlucky with some of these ground balls.
Now he's got to face off against Thomas Green, and it's a fastball low. He's only hit as high as 87 miles an hour. He's not a very powerful pitcher, A lot of finesse from the left arm of Logan Wood. Fastball, changeup, and a big-time curveball. And he may mix in a slider once in a while as well. 2-0 Oakland, top of the first. They have 5 hits, though, in the inning. Logan Wood trying to stop the damage. He delivers a changeup. Man, he left that really high. It's 1-1.
Well, it's interesting that that the Golden Grizzlies are batting shortstop Thomas Green in the 8 hole, especially as a righty, Wood being a lefty. Green hits 277, 364, and 532. He's not good with runners on, but he's a better hitter than the hitters above him in the lineup.
Curveball from Wood. Nice pitch. Bends right at the knees. It's 1-2.
It seems Oakland has put some of the worst hitters by average in the middle of their lineup, going 5, 6, 7. Green and Heidel, who bat 8th and 9th, both have averages above 250. And that's an interesting lineup construction. They have Seth Tucker batting first, which is, he's a prototypical leadoff hitter.
The 1-2 to Green is a chopper, left side, towards the shortstop, Bertram, and at second base, not able to get the runner, Miller, and that will extend the inning for Oakland. Nye comes home to score. It's 3-0 Golden Grizzlies.
And this performance by Oakland in the first inning has just been stereotypical of any smaller program trying to fight off a bigger program in any collegiate sport. Just being annoying, frankly. Getting all these infield singles and choppers. Just, missing the outstretched arms of shortstops and third basemen. It's not like they're knocking balls into the outfield. These have all been ground balls. Oakland's just gotten lucky, and then three runs in the first inning is not the outcome for Michigan that you want.
And here's a 9-hole hitter, Brandon Heidel, who laces one in the left center field. This will get multiple runs to score. Sliding is Stort. He'll get it to the cutoff man. And trying to back pick is Bertram to Fry, but that's a 2 RBI single for the 9-spot hitter, Brandon Heidel. It's 5-0 Oakland in the first. You got to figure that bullpen is getting going quickly, and Eric Bakich is currently at the top step with 2 outs in the first.
But do you throw a better reliever, or are you already thinking, do I want to waste one of our better relievers in the middle of the week?
And he's going to have to go to the bullpen now. But in my opinion, if I'm going to try and be intelligent in my IQ of baseball here, I'm going to get someone that maybe doesn't have a lot of experience. Maybe a guy with a low ERA that doesn't have many innings pitched. I'm looking at guys like Ahmed Harajali that, you can throw some heat. He can go for 1 or 2 innings, and then you just get a couple of guys that are like that looking for some more experience. And if you're Eric Bakich, this is a good opportunity to find some guys that could be potential late game relievers for later in the season. Maybe there's a diamond in the rough that you don't really know about that can impress you in a Wednesday night game like this where you're down 5-0, and they've got 9 innings to get their bats to go. We know Michigan can score a lot of runs, so this game is by no means over in the first, but as I mentioned,
it's by no means over, but I don't think you burn, say Noah Renard. He'll come in and shut this game down, but would that really be worth it in a matchup like this? But Zach, I think you're perfectly correct in saying that you want a younger pitcher to come in and show his stuff. Baseball is all a game about sample sizes. You need a fairly decent sample size, especially with relievers. In my opinion, you can't even tell how good a reliever is with a full season of work in Major League Baseball, let alone college. So getting relievers out there and just throwing in a situation like this is crucial for Michigan to try and salvage their staff that has really let them down this year.
6 hits, 5 runs so far in the first inning, and it's still not over. The Grizzlies have runners on first and third base. And for Michigan taking the mound, it'll be Avery Goldensoft, the freshman from Saginaw, Michigan, Swan Valley High School. And the 6'6" freshman stands at 170 pounds. It's a big righty, and they're going to need a couple of innings out of this freshman.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we talked about, having a younger player go in there. But 6'6", 170, the weight's a little low for somebody that tall, but 6'6" is an imposing figure on the mound. I think the right-handedness is a factor that Coach Bakich factored into subbing him in, as every single hitter in the Oakland starting lineup is right-handed. So you get that handedness advantage with Goldensoft. Logan Wood was a lefty, so he was playing at a disadvantage every hitter he faced. Golden Soft just needs to hold it over for a couple innings, and we'll see if Michigan's bats can come alive. We talked about in the open that Oakland's pitcher, Tyler Densmore, is making his first start of the season, the junior. And if Michigan can capitalize on his inexperience, maybe it'll offset what Logan Wood allowed in the first inning.
Golden Soft has 2 appearances on the season, both of 2 or more innings, so that's exactly what they're looking for here. And I'd like to give myself maybe a little bit of credit. Guys that don't pitch all that much, that Coach Bakich is perhaps looking for a little more action. 2 appearances, 2+ innings in both appearances. Pitched last Friday against Nebraska. That was in the lone loss of the series, and that'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Seth Tucker. And Golden Soft with runners at the corners. First pitch is a fastball high and outside. Not a lot of velocity from Golden Soft either, but he's got to face off against a Golden Grizzlies lineup that is obviously very hungry, leading 5-0 here in the first. Smaller leg kick misses almost in the same spot with the fastball, and Tucker's ahead 2-0.
If there weren't runners at the corners in this situation, it's pretty much like if the game restarted, Oakland bats around and Seth Tucker comes back up to lead off to a new pitcher. Golden Soft just really came into a 0-0 game. It's just Michigan spotted Oakland 5 runs immediately.
And he moves that fastball about 2 inches to the right and finally hits the strike zone. His first strike in this appearance. It's 2-1 to Seth Tucker. Had a single to the shortstop, which was bobbled by Bertram and was unable to get it to Vanner Mortal in time. A nice curveball misses, and a throw down to second base will slide into center field. Joe Stort will have to come on and grab it. And Vanner Mortal, instead of throwing the ball down to second base, wanted to throw it back to the pitcher, Golden Soft, and the 2 middle infielders were nowhere to be found. It's now a 6-0 lead for Oakland. That's the first error for the Wolverines in the inning.
And the second baseman, Ted Burton, just looked like he was caught by surprise in that ball coming his way. They had the runner in a pickle, Brandon Heidel, but that was only if they managed to control the ball. It dribbles away into center field, and the runner scores. Heidel advances.
The 3-1 is popped foul down the first base line and into the parking lot. That'll fill up the count against Tucker. And if you're proud of one thing so far from Logan Wood, and he's out of the game now, only went 2/3 of an inning, he didn't walk anybody, but he did allow a couple of pitches to glide right over the zone for solid contact. And this is a pulling Grizzlies team. Here's the 3-2. Swung on, fouled away, same spot. That'll damage another windshield.
With the entire Golden Grizzly lineup being right-handed, you saw them pull all those balls between the second and third base line. And that's just a function of Logan Wood leaving those balls too much in the zone and allowing the Grizzlies to make solid contact on them. He did have the strikeout, so like you said, Zach, he improved his strikeout to walk ratio, but was not a great inning for the young pitcher.
And Seth Tucker continues to foul balls off. He's about to see the 7th pitch in this AB. Single, single, strikeout. Single, single, strikeout. Single, single, single. And back to the top of the order for Oakland. 6-0 lead, Golden Grizzlies top 1. Here's a little bloop foul. And it's been a good job of fighting these strikes off from Seth Tucker. But Golden Soft is pounding the zone. That's what you like to see from a young freshman that's only had a couple of appearances. And if he's looking to go 2 innings, 3 innings in this game, he's got to continue to throw strikes. But the pitch count can get up there if you're not hitting those corners exactly the way you'd like.
Yeah, and there's a point where he'll need to try and put away Tucker here.
Here's a fly ball gliding towards right center. Elliott seems to be under it. He'll make the catch, and a nightmare of a first inning is over for Michigan. A 6-hit, 6-run first, and the 2-minute timer will be taken as Michigan will finally be able to take home plate. This game started at 4:03. It was a 27-minute first top of the inning.
I liked what I saw from Avery Golden Soft there in relief, coming in relief in the first inning. It's like the Wolverines came out with an opener, but Goldensoft did his job, got the Wolverines out of the inning. That unearned run was not Goldensoft's fault. That was more the defense's fault that allowed the runner to come home from third on an errant throw to second base. But he pitched well, I think. You said it before that last pop-up by Seth Tucker. Goldensoft needs to be able to find a pitch that can put away batters instead of just pounding the strike zone and looking for those batters to keep fouling off pitches to avoid striking out. I think there's a shot Michigan can stay in this game if Goldensoft comes out pitching well in the next 2 or 3 innings. I think they'll give him that runway as long as he does not allow more base runners. But 6-0 hole as you enter your first couple at bats for the Wolverines. They really need to dig themselves out of trouble.
They'll be facing off against a sidewinder, Travis Densmore. The left-hander has an 11 even ERA, a 2.78 whip. He's 1-0 on the season, 9 innings pitched, 23 hits allowed, 11 earned runs. He's only walked 2 batters but struck out 10, so he's got the finesse stuff and he can paint the corners as well. He wears 27 in gold. He can work from both the stretch and the windup, but I'll assume that we'll see the windup first, as Michigan will have Clark Elliott leading it off.
And with Michigan's contact hitters up first, I am not sure that Densmore's approach to overpower pitchers and strike them out is going to play well here. If the Wolverines want to get back in this game, they need to attack Densmore, get on base with singles like Oakland did, and they could really play the same way that Oakland did, just sending balls over the infield's head. They'll put the shift on for Elliott here, but we'll see what happens.
Densmore's first pitch is taken opposite field, down the left field line, and foul. Clark Elliott batting from the left side. 352 batter on the season, 3 homers, so a bit of power, but the first pitch he saw on the season was a line drive that he took over the right field wall down in Arlington, Texas against one of Texas Tech's flamethrowers. The second pitch is a ball low and outside, 1-1.
And like I said, Elliott facing a shift here on the right side of the infield, something I was surprised Michigan didn't pull out when the rally was happening with all those right-handed hitters for Oakland.
Strike 2 to Elliott.
But with a team, like Oakland and some of the hitters that got hits, I don't think that the Michigan coaching staff expected a shift to be any more work any better than straight up defense.
Got Elliott looking low and outside corner, and the shift is to no avail because they didn't need it. Travis Densmore, that's exactly why his K to walk ratio is so good. That's now 11 strikeouts on the season to 2 walks, and that'll allow Ted Burton his first opportunity in today's ball game.
To get Clark Elliott to strike out looking is a huge out for the Golden Grizzlies in the first at bat at the bottom of the first.
Line drive right side and foul. Back towards the IM fields here in Ann Arbor. It's a cloudy, not so nice day according to what the forecast was supposed to be. Supposed to be about 64 and sunny. And, well, it didn't happen. The 0-1 pitch to Ted Burton. Swung on, missed. Beautiful off-speed pitch from Densmore.
I'm looking at Densmore pitch, and I'm just wondering how his ERA is as high as it is. I get that it's only in 9 innings, but his mix so far has looked great against 2 great Wolverine hitters.
Burton on the ground towards the right side. The second baseman Goulet fires over to the first baseman Miller, and that's a 2 quick out set for Densmore. We'll do the Oakland defense very quickly in the outfield from left to right. Post, Tucker, Phillips. Left to right in the infield, Nye, Green, Goulet, and the first baseman Miller. Behind the plate is Heidel. And the designated hitter for Oakland is Steigels. That'll bring up Matt Fry, Michigan freshman. 291 batter, on base percentage of about 440. He turns out of the way of a high and in breaking ball, and it's 1-0.
And Fry, 333 batting average in 2 out situations. That is a hit that the Wolverines need to try and start something in the bottom of the first.
Ball high and outside. It's 2-0 against Fry. 21 walks, 15 strikeouts for the freshman. And you can tell he's just got a very patient approach out of the left-handed batter's box. Bat cocked across the left shoulder. He's ready for the 2-0, and it's in there for a strike.
And for a freshman to have that much plate discipline is a really plus thing for the Wolverines to have in Fry. Walking, pioneered by the Oakland A's of the early 2000s in the Moneyball strategy to try and grab players that just got on base, and Fry does that very well with that 440 on base percentage.
The 2-1 was low. It's 3-1. Fry in the hitter's count. Delivery from Densmore is sharply towards the middle of the infield, and throwing over to first base is the shortstop Green as they were in the shift. That'll end the inning. 1-2-3 down go the Wolverines. And Oakland with a 6-0 lead. They're in a great position here in Ann Arbor early.
Densmore working quickly and confidently. He gets that strikeout looking on Elliott, then 2 grounders to the second baseman. And Oakland does not allow Michigan to try and get back in this game, sends Avery Goldensoft right back to the mound with a quick 1-2-3 bottom of the first inning. And Goldensoft needs to lock it up here for his, next couple at bats of the inning.
Well, he'll face 2, 3, 4, so it's not very easy for him. As the big right-hander takes the hill again, and it's got to be a bit odd for him as well, especially since they don't have their everyday catcher, Jimmy Obertop, behind the plate today. It's Casey Buckley, who's stepping in. Obertop getting his legs a bit of a rest. He's in the 4 spot, though, so Obertop's still in the lineup. However, Michigan pitching, we know their bullpen isn't great. Hasn't been great so far this season, but someone's got to step up for Michigan. At some point, they're going to get a guy that will be their go-to out of the pen, and as you mentioned, it could be a couple of different guys, but I'm talking more the diamond in the rough, the guy they don't necessarily know about yet that they may have to depend on. Let's say if an arm gets hurt or the Wolverines get in a situation like this where they don't want to burn some of their better arms in a midweek game.
Well, we know Ahmad Harajli throws gas. I mean, he gets that fastball up there, and we've seen a lot of pitchers so far today only get up to about 87, 86 miles an hour. Harajli gives the Wolverines a different type of pitcher.
On the first pitch, Goulet skies one, and in comes the first baseman, Van Remortel, who stomped on the catcher's mask of Buckley, and he makes the catch, 1 gone. And that's a quick out for Goldensoft. That's all you ask for him, is to get some quick outs and get out of this inning, get the bats back to the plate.
And then another benefit that the Wolverines do have with their pitching staff is that they're flush with talented left-handers. Maybe not that they've put it all together this year, but guys like Connor O'Halloran, senior Walker Cleveland, and Logan Wood we saw today was a lefty. That's a luxury for a team to have that many left-handed pitchers.
Nice curveball from Goldensoft. Just falls into the strike zone for Post. He squares to bunt on the second, and it misses outside. Post standing in the right-handed batter's box just watched it glide into the left-handers, and it's now 1-1. And ground ball towards the right side, easy for Burton. Throws to Van Remortel, and that's 2 quick outs for Goldensoft here in the top of the second inning, and he's going against 2, 3, and 4 of this Oakland lineup.
He's looked good ever since he got up. A dangerous, fast hitter like Cam Post getting him out on a ground ball is a big out for the Wolverines to get. Post had 8 stolen bases on the year, and we talked about the 11 for the leadoff hitter Seth Tucker, excuse me.
Nice, he's a ball left high, and that's the first ball of the inning thrown from Goldensoft, 1-0. Here's a second. Here's a line drive down the right field line. This is arcing fair, and it lands. That's gone just inside the foul pole. And Nye has his 4th home run of the season. And just as we thought that it would be a quick inning for Goldensoft, Oakland extends their lead to 7-0.
And Nye represents the future of this Golden Grizzlies team. We talked about their lineup full of seniors. Nye, the freshman, at third base, a premium defensive position, hitting that home run on the road, trying to swing momentum back towards the Golden Grizzlies' way, and they've now had 2 innings with a run on the board. Real danger time for the Wolverines now.
Goldensoft's first pitch to Steigels is up and in. As we mentioned, it's a young lineup for Oakland, but that's a freshman that just hit that homer. The 1-0 is a strike. But out of the lineup for the Golden Grizzlies, just 1 freshman, everyone else junior or older, with the exception of Heidel, their lone sophomore. It's two veteran lineups going at it today. The 1-1 misses low and outside. For Oakland, it's senior, freshman, three more seniors, a junior and a sophomore. And the 2-1 from Golden Soft is skied foul.
And those seniors give you the opportunity to extend a lot of at-bats. As that ball fouled off, hits the windshield of a Jeep in the parking lot next to the stadium. That's a dangerous spot to park your car.
2-2 from Golden Soft makes Buckley rise to his feet, and that fills the count for Steigels.
But having all these seniors being able to extract full counts like we see here for Steigels, and another foul ball he hits off to the right side.
I'm telling you, that right field line is that's where you want to stand if you want a souvenir.
It's definitely not where I'd put my car. There is a full parking lot there.
3-2. Ground ball towards the left side. Might be a tough play for the shortstop. Bertram, long throw. Man, that was a beautiful toss over to first. Vanner Immortal had to stretch a little bit. One run, one hit, a home run for Brandon Nye, and Oakland is up 7-0 heading into the bottom of the second against the Wolverines.
And Bertram with a nice play there from shortstop. I think we saw him in that first at bat in the grounder that he bobbled and couldn't get to first base to get Seth Tucker out at first. He's a little more confident on that play. He looked to signal the third baseman Matt Fry off, who was also gunning for that ball. Bertram makes the throw. He was closer to third than second. It was a great play to get Steigels out at first.
Travis Densmore will retake the mound. Only 12 pitches thrown in that first inning. It was safe to say he was as efficient as ever for having a +11 ERA, and all of a sudden his ERA, which updates in front of us mid-game, is now down to 9.90. So an efficient inning like that will do you a lot better when you get 1, 2, 3 innings against a really powerful lineup that the Wolverines boast.
And Obertop strolls up to the plate here. The rest of the lineup isn't really a cakewalk, but he did get three good hitters out quickly in the first inning, Elliott, Burton, and Fry. Obertop represents, he's hitting cleanup. He has been the Wolverines' best hitter so far this season. It's not often you see a catcher DHing and being one of the top hitters on a team, but Obertop does it all for the Wolverines, and he does it all pretty well.
Well, here is Obertop getting a break from the catcher's position today. He stands in as the DH, and that's something that Eric Bakich loves to do for this lineup, is give his catcher a well-deserved break. He started all 3 games in Lincoln as the catcher, and now he'll get a much-needed break on the legs as he'll watch his defense play from the bench. It was a ball 1-0 from Densmore. Obertop gets a hold of one to right field. Back to the wall. Track. This ball's gone. Obertop's 4th home run of the season, and that's why he's still in the lineup as the DH. Number 8 hits his 4th. 7-1.
And he turns on that ball, sends it over the right field wall. It's good that he hadn't hit a crouch earlier today. He might not have had his legs get all the power into that ball that he needed. But Obertop answers the one-run shot from the third baseman, Brendan Nye, at the top of the inning. And Michigan finally gets on the board to try and get the long way back to tying the game or retaking the lead. It's only the second inning. We could be in for a very exciting baseball game here on a Wednesday afternoon.
And here's Tito Flores, who leads the Wolverines in home runs. He has 7. And they may need a few more of those in order to get back, as you mentioned. Strike 1 to Flores, low and outside corner, and Densmore, he'll just have to settle back in himself.
In the lone game I called with Kellen Flynn at Vanderbilt this year, Tito Flores played incredibly in that game. He had a nice throw from left field and 2 doubles to get Michigan within striking distance. Sadly, they blew it in the 9th inning, but Flores, I think an unsung hero in this Wolverine lineup, not often talked about.
Here's the 1-1 to Flores. At the knees, Flores shakes his head. It's a strike, 1-2.
But we talked about Flores being the home run leader. He is slugging .617. That is massive, especially for a hitter in the 5 spot. That is a great thing to have. Classic power hitter Tito Flores.
The 1-2 is well outside. It's an easy take for Flores. steps out of the box, gets stretched out, and he'll await the 2-2.
These next couple pitches will be big for Flores. He doesn't walk that much, and he strikes out often. In the 2-2 count, a lot of ways it could go.
He fouls this one back to the screen. That's a big hack from Flores, and he'll take his time before he does the 2-2 routine again.
And Densmore, we talked about another one of those pitchers that throws high 80s, 86, 87. And Flores might be licking his chops after that home run from Overtop to try and send one himself. Get the Wolverines further back in this game.
The 2-2 is popped up, coming back towards us, and that will land right above our heads. And for the third time, we'll do the 2-2.
Seen a lot of batters in this game extend counts, just a product of the experience that many of these guys have, all those seniors in the Oakland lineup, all the older players in the Michigan lineup.
And this one's skied towards the right side, floating towards foul ground, and that will just miss a car. We're playing the car smash game on the right field line.
If Michigan wasn't losing as much as they are, the car game wouldn't be as entertaining as it is, but down 7-1, it's a pretty entertaining spectacle.
Seventh pitch of the AB upcoming. And he turns on one. This is down the left field line, but playable for the third baseman, Nye. He does a couple of circle steps, makes the catch, and will relay it back into his fellow infielders. One gone here in the bottom of the second inning. A good fight, though, from Flores.
Flores, great at bat, great fight, but just lifted that one a little too high. If he got on it a bit earlier, maybe that ball goes out of the park. But Flores hunting for a good pitch to hit and slap one, but just gets a pop out.
And here's Joe Stort. Line drive towards the left side, off the glove of Nye. It will bounce into foul territory, but that's a base hit for Joe Stort, an infield slapper. And the Wolverines have their second hit of the ball game.
And we've seen the right-handed hitters for both teams hit those balls to the third baseman down the third base line. That's a tough play to make if you're Nye, to knock that ball down and make the throw to first base, especially as a freshman playing at the hot corner. He can't do it, and Stewart gets on base with a single. Michigan, only one out. Riley Bertram coming up. He's a good hitter as well down in the lower levels of this lineup. Maybe get a rally going to get back in it.
First pitch to Bertram is towards the shortstop. Green, it's a 6-4-3 double play. And I'm going to look at you. I think that's the classic broadcaster's jinx for that rally that you so called here in the bottom of the second inning.
Well, Bertram hit it right to the position he knows best, right to the shortstop for the double play. I actually saw him hit that exact same ground ball against Vanderbilt. Should have remembered that before I said it, but Oakland gets out of the inning with minimal damage.
An overtop home run gets the Wolverines on the board in the bottom of the second inning, and they'll look to Avery Goldensoft to give him another inning or two. He got out of that inning very quickly in the top of the second, albeit the one homer. And he's been solid so far. He's been pounding the strike zone. Not too many chances for Oakland to really smack a ball, as I mentioned. Besides that one homer that they got in the top of the second, he's done pretty well so far in 1 1/3 innings pitched.
He's been chugging along. It's just that hanger he left for Nye that he stroked to right field out of here. But Goldensoft has, I think, earned the opportunity to try and ride this one out, maybe see if he can get out these next couple hitters for Oakland that have not necessarily performed great this season. They have played well this game. We saw the bottom of the lineup with Jared Miller and Brandon Heidel both get on base with a hit. Brenton Phillips and Thomas Green both sent ground balls at advanced runners. But we'll see if Goldensoft can get out of the inning quickly against the bottom of the order hitters for Oakland.
It will be 6, 7, and 8. Brenton Phillips, Jared Miller, Thomas Green. And Phillips was the second of the two strikeout victims for Logan Wood in the first inning. First pitch from Goldensoft is a line drive down the right field line. It'll arc foul. And I'll tell you what, he had to reach across the plate to make contact with that one, and yet he still got a hold of it. It's 0-1.
And Goldenstoff's, that was an 89-mile-an-hour pitch. That's big power there showcased by Phillips to be able to get on that ball.
The 0-1's in a similar spot just outside. And according to the home plate umpire, Mike Martin, he says no, it's 1-1. The 1-1's a curveball that's blessed on the outside corner, 1-2. Nice pitch from Goldensoft.
And I think we do see the Oakland hitters being a little bit late on Goldensoft's fastball.
The 1-2. And here's a line drive. He wasn't late on that one. Towards the right center gap and ranging over his Stort. He'll make a glove play on it. And there's a leadoff single here in the top of the third for Brenton Phillips.
Michigan just not able to capitalize on these, 200 average hitters at the bottom of the Oakland lineup. And these are the easy outs you need to get, especially Oakland is a sub 500 team. This is not exactly a tough matchup. You're in Ann Arbor. You need to get these guys out, get out of innings without too much damage. But with nobody out, you let Phillips on, and now Miller, who had a hit in his last at bat, trying to crack this inning open once again.
And he'll foul one off down the right field line, and let's play the car game again.
It's a little too far. We couldn't see it.
My favorite part about it is seeing the ball. Now, there are cars down the left field line as well, lined up next to Yost Ice Arena. However, down the right field line, there's easily a couple hundred cars, and you'll know it when a car gets hit because you'll hear the crowd react. Squaring to bunt is Miller, and he'll pull it back just in time, 1-1.
Well, I see some kids running around to check out the cars, too, when they do get hit. When that Jeep got hit on the windshield, someone ran out to check on it. Makes sense, but you see some people moving their cars right now, pulling out.
Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball low and outside.
Goldensoft has been locating that curve well, I think, so far. It's a good difference from his fastball velocity. It's about a 15-mile-an-hour drop.
Here's the 2-1. There's a line drive down the right field line. That one will go foul, but this one will stay inside the park. So for anyone worrying about their car now, that one stayed in play.
But it is another fastball hit opposite field. We saw it on the home run to Nye, and then the past two hitters, Phillips and Miller, have mashed one to opposite field. Their hits both went foul, though. It's a warning sign for Goldensoft, I'd say, as he tries to work through the rest of this inning.
Deuce is wild here. The 2-2 is outside. That'll fill the count with Miller. With no outs in the inning, danger zone for Goldensoft. No active arms in the bullpen quite yet for Eric Bakich in Michigan. 7-1 lead for Oakland. They're leading 8-2 in hits. Michigan with one error, which came in the first, which scored the sixth run. The 3-2 is lined into right center field. That's extra bases. Rounding second base goes Phillips. He'll come all the way home, and he will score. And into third, sliding with a triple, is Jared Miller.
And Miller, I was just about to say that before that pitch, a lot of what he brings to the table is his ability to get on base with walks, not necessarily hits. But he laces that one into right center. And Michigan just looking out of sorts on the defensive side. It has not been a great game to watch as if you're a Michigan fan. And they'll have another mound visit to check out what Goldensoft has going on. But 3 straight innings with a run. That first inning was 6 runs allowed to Oakland. Now 8-1. And we were talking about how, maybe you bring in Goldensoft, try and limit the damage after the first inning, but the Wolverines keep letting up runs.
And this isn't Eric Bakich visiting the mound. This is Steve Merriman, the pitching coach. He returned to Michigan for the 2021 season after previously serving as the pitching coach in 2 different stints, 2002-2012. He was the hitting coach all the way back in 1995 for Michigan, and this conversation with Goldensoft is probably about making sure he's hitting his spots, because also out there is Casey Buckley. With no outs here in the top of the third inning, I mean, could you say this game has been blown open? It just seems like Oakland's got everything going for them, with the exception of the Obertop homer.
Well, and everything Michigan's brought to the table, Oakland's answered. Obertop did answer the Nye homer, but then Oakland puts another run on the board and have another runner in scoring position at third base with no outs. Now, the only thing I think that can change anything is the sun's finally come out. It's a little bit nicer instead of all the clouds and doom and gloom that we had earlier today. But other than that, I don't know if much will change with Golden Soft still staying out there. He's been hit hard after his first inning of work.
Here's Thomas Green as he sees a curveball land in the dirt. 1-0. Michigan's defense playing with their toes on the grass, trying to keep the runner at third base, Miller, at bay. Another curveball misses low and out.
And that's interesting. Green does not get a lot of hits for extra bases, only 5 on the year out of 13 hits, which is a decent amount. Slugs 521. I'm surprised that they're playing this far in, maybe looking for a bunt. Oakland is a speedy team, but with no outs, why not play for something special? And they got it there.
Drive in the left center, and it gets past the diving Flores. Oh, goodness. Thomas Green is rounding second. He's coming all the way to third. This may be back-to-back triples. A nice throw in from the outfield sees Green slide in safe. Back-to-back triples for Oakland. They are now up 9-1 here in Ann Arbor.
With nobody out and a man back on third after allowing a run, you're just at a loss for words. You don't expect Oakland to come into town to stun the Wolverines like they have. You look at Michigan's schedule, they have had games where they've allowed about 10 or so runs. This weekend against Nebraska, against Louisville, they allowed 13. East Carolina, a team, but they're down south, they allowed 10 runs to them. And then the Florida-Atlanta game was crazy. 20-13 was the final there, but I'd say Michigan has been able to control the runs allowed to teams that are not power teams. You know, they're not power conference teams. Oakland's not a power conference team, but they've just jumped the Wolverines here at home, and it's been really surprising to watch.
And there'll be another pitching change as Eric Bakich goes back out to the mound, and Goldensoft, who looked really good in his first inning and a third besides that one home run, will give the ball up to Jake Kieser, another freshman from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. So you mentioned it, a lot of talent coming out of OSM. But if it's anything like the first guy that came out of Orchard Lake, you got to hope it's not.
Well, they must have shared a rotation together in Orchard Lake, both being freshmen, both being from the same high school. So that's got to be a fun high school baseball team to have two Michigan pitchers.
You mentioned powerhouse.
In the same starting lineup. I mean, that's a great lineup. My high school back home, we had a couple kids commit to Michigan, so it creates exciting high school baseball. People go out to watch, and that's always fun because outside of the major leagues, there hasn't been a lot of interest for more lower level baseball, but Kieser comes out trying to stop the bleeding with a man on third. Michigan's defense, the pitching, even Clark Elliott striking out. The top of the lineup hasn't looked great other than that overtop homer. It has been a lackluster game for Michigan so far, and even with the sun coming out, they still allowed that back-to-back triple.
The lead is 9-1 for Oakland as Kieser making his 6th appearance on the season, his first at Ray Fisher Stadium. All of the other ones have been at a neutral site or on the road. Most recently came exactly a week ago at Xavier. 1 inning pitched, he allowed 1 hit, he struck out 1, no runs. His season ERA is 13.50 in just 4 innings pitched. He made his collegiate debut against Oklahoma in the 3rd game of the season. In that game, he allowed 1 hit, 2 runs, but only 1 of them being earned. He walked 1. So Eric Bakich, as we mentioned, he's leaning on some arms that perhaps he's looking forward to seeing more of in the future. And these are all young arms. Now, back-to-back freshmen. He started with the sophomore today. And that's a lot of what you'd like to see, though, out of this bullpen is the youth. That means they have a future in this program, and you'd like to see a lot of them start to prosper as they get older here in Ann Arbor.
Well, when you come into this game against Oakland expecting a low-stakes environment for the freshman starter, Logan Wood, first inning doesn't go to plan, you bring in freshman Goldensoft. Further, strife for the Wolverines, and you bring in another freshman Kieser, and you try and get him involved in a game that could very well be over.
Then Remorto ranges towards the wall and it bounces foul. This is the 9-spot hitter, Brandon Heidel. He singled back in the first inning to center field and delivered home 2 RBIs. Keyser keeps it simple. Fastball, changeup, breaking ball. He's got an 0-1 count against a 9-spot Heidel right now. And this ball misses low and outside.
And both teams batting their catchers today in the 9 spot. Heidel has a 262 average, which is perfectly serviceable for a catcher at the college level, while Buckley for Michigan only has an 083 batting average, so 2 different type of hitters in the 9 spots for each team.
The 1-1 is a fly ball towards the right side. Into the Bermuda Triangle of fly balls, and coming home from third base is Green, and he will stop about halfway. So a pop-up for Heidel. That'll be the first out of the inning, and Green stays put over at third.
That's exactly where you want that pop-up to go, over to right field, shallow enough that the runner Green cannot tag from third. Clark Elliott, strong arm there in right field. Excuse me.
That's a long run for Burton, who had to come on and make that catch, though.
Yeah, and not allowing Green to score is the biggest part of that, though.
First pitch to Seth Tucker, who was 1 for 2 today. He led the game off with a single that quite possibly could have been an out into the hands of Riley Bertram at shortstop. Ball 1. Michigan still playing in, toes on the grass. He squares to bunt. The ball goes above the head of the hitter, and now it's in a rundown. Buckley throws to third, but it is in time. It looked really close. Applying a nice tag was Fry, and they're going to snag Thomas Green off the base paths. That's 2 outs now in the inning.
And I'm surprised. It looked like Green got back there. Tucker unable to put the bat on the ball to get the bunt down and advance the runner. Heidel was looking to advance. He was already out running. Sign came. Tucker just couldn't hold up his end of the deal.
And that's now ball 3 on the leadoff hitter, Tucker. Mentioned earlier, a 340 batting average. All righties in this lineup. The 3-0. There's strike 1. Tucker took a step towards first base, and he'll promptly return to the right-handed batter's box.
And Tucker must be surprised. He is experienced at drawing walks. His on-base percentage is a full 104 points higher than his batting average. Sign of a very disciplined hitter.
Beautiful pitch. 91 miles an hour for Keyser. And the count's now full at 3-2. 2 outs here in the top of the third inning. Oakland leads at 9-1. They bounced on the Wolverines early, 6 runs in the first inning on just 6 hits. The 3-2. Swung on and missed. Beautiful job by Keyser. And Michigan will head to the bottom of the third, trailing by 8 runs, but great job by the freshman to come on and just blow it by Tucker, coming back from 3-0.
And Tucker was hunting for a pitch to hit there. I talked right before about how he's a very disciplined hitter on the stat sheet, draws a lot of walks, but he was bombs away as soon as it got to 3-1 there. 2 straight big swings and misses. Great out there by Keyser to get the Wolverines out of the inning. And we have finally reached the bottom of the third. It's been an hour, and we're not even out of the first 3 frames.
That'll allow Travis Densmore to return to the hill, and besides that overtop home run in the second inning, he's been good so far. He'll face off against the Wolverines, 8, 9, and 1 hitters as the sun continues to come out from the right field side.
This morning, freezing. Absolutely freezing when I woke up to go walk to class. It was gross out, and I'm thinking, how am I going to go call a baseball game today in this weather? And now we're blessed with the sun shining. Now it feels like a baseball game. Excited to start the spring. MLB opens up on the 7th. I think it's going to be a great spring for baseball, great summer for baseball. A lot of people have been missing it ever since COVID and the lockout happened. But
now, as we look back at the weather, it says 52 degrees right now.
Shining.
It said 50 degrees at the first pitch. There was no way.
Shining in here now, it feels like it could be 70 degrees. I mean, I'm wearing our WCBN quarter zip, which is a nice weight, nice fabric, great quarter zip.
Is that your way to sell it to our listeners?
If we sold it, I mean, it's a good quarter zip. I like it a lot. But I might be overheating in a minute.
Jack Vandermortel steps into the right-handed batter's box against the lefty Densmore. Strike hits the low and outside corner. That's probably as far as Mike Martin, the home plate umpire, will let it go. Beautiful frame job, though, by Heidel. Second pitch to Vandermortel is sliced down the right field line and into the mid of Phillips. That's a base hit and a leadoff one at that for number 51, Vandermortel. And welcome back to the lineup, young man. A single to lead off the bottom of the third.
And it seemed that after that 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the first for Densmore, the scouting report of Elliott, Burton, and Fry got back to the dugout telling all the other hitters how to hit Densmore. We saw the home run from Overtop and now that single from Vandermortel.
Now here's Casey Buckley. The lefty sees a strike, and Mike Martin's strike zone has been pretty high, and he's allowing some outside strikes. That was, we'd say, probably at the block M, which is currently on the left chest of the Wolverine batters. And Casey Buckley, relatively tall for a catcher, saw that one blow by him, 0-1. Densmore will check over to Vandermortel, who isn't really a threat to steal the bag. Maybe got a bit too off first base for Densmore's liking.
And who knows, with so many inexperienced arms pitching in this game, the home plate umpire trying to give them a little more leeway to avoid tons of balls and walks being allowed.
That's a beautiful pitch from Densmore. Down 0-2 now is Buckley. And we could see the catcher Heidel pointing right back at his junior left-hander. Say, well done, nice pitch. He comes set. Buckley swinging his bat across his left shoulder. The delivery from Densmore is outside. Fastball that sat at 86.5 miles an hour. About a ball and a half's width off the plate. It's 1-2. Now on the lefty Buckley. Playing in just his 6th game of the season, getting his 3rd start. And here's a pitch that lands low and outside.
And they must trust Buckley as a senior to be able to guide the young freshman pitchers that we've seen today. One of those classic catchers that is in there for his leadership and his game calling ability, not necessarily his hitting. And Zach, you talked about the 3 base runners thrown out against Xavier. He's a defensive catcher, not much offense to his game, but he's valuable in the intangibles that he brings to the program.
Densmore checks over on Vandermortel again. Casey Buckley, the senior from Long Beach, California. Interestingly enough, bats left, throws right. His first homer as a Wolverine came back in late February, the 26th. Here's a bouncer right over the head of Densmore. The shortstop, Green, will not get it to the second baseman in time. Instead, he'll throw over to Miller at first base and get Buckley out. So that'll work just as fine as a sacrifice for Buckley, as now at second base is Vandermortel for the top of the lineup in Clark Elliott.
And that's a good strategy for a hitter to employ to just advance the runner. You see that with pitchers hitting in Major League Baseball before they instituted the universal DH, just to get that runner over, not worry about putting good contact into the ball. But a chopper like that can give the runner at first base enough time to advance. And Michigan's in a better situation with 1 out and Clark Elliott coming back up.
This is the leadoff man for Michigan. He slices one foul down the left field line. And Densmore struck him out looking in the first inning. You mentioned Clark Elliott. Definitely did not like that. Elliott, a potent batter. That's .352 on the season, 3 homers, has started 22 of the 25 games, or now 23 of the 25 games for Michigan.
And the thing about Elliott that is absurd to me, look at his averages with runners on and runners in scoring position. Over 500 in both of those categories, 514 with runners on base in general. And then he gets even better when they're at second or third with a 556 average with runners in scoring position.
The last pitch from Densmore missed. He's ready for the 1-1. Comes set at the belt, delivers inside. And if we're analyzing the home plate umpire, Mike Martin, I think his strike zone has shifted from the batter side inside to out. So he likes calling outside strikes a lot more than inside. That one was pretty close, as Elliott likes to hug the plate a little bit. His left foot in the left-handed batter's box is right on the chalk, and his right foot is halfway through it. So an offset stance, he lines one towards the left side. That'll get through. That'll score Vander Mortal. Clark Elliott will head his way to first base, and that's an RBI single for Elliott. It's now a 9-2 ball game. A beautiful piece of hitting as he beats the shift left side.
And Elliott avenges his last strikeout and his last at bat, and now Ted Burton comes back up. Matt Fry comes back up, leading up to Jimmy Overtop, hopefully being able to get up there for the Wolverines. And the heart of the lineup coming back up, ready to see Densmore for the second time. And as we've seen the Wolverines go through this order, it's become increasingly obvious that they've learned how to hit Densmore, get better contact on the ball. And Burton, this at bat crucial here, 1 out, man on first. Wolverines, third inning, still a possibility to jump back in this game.
Burton took a ball low and outside, 1-0. I mean, you mentioned it midway through that Clark Elliott at bat that his runners in scoring position average, it's now going to go higher. Mike Martin says no, sir, on that last pitch, 2-0 to Burton. So that's incredible. Over 500 in both of those categories. Clark Elliott, and he's batting out of the 1 spot.
He is.
That's the craziest.
Him and Overtop, one batting first, batting fourth punch that I think compares to some of the best teams in the country. I mean, what's Elliott's average with runners in scoring position going to be now? 600? That was
518. Now it's going to rise again. It's 3-0 now to Burton as Densmore missed badly inside. Burton had to get his kneecaps out of the way. There's the 3-0 pitch coming from Densmore. Barely offset stance for Burton in the right-handed batter's box, and he will take strike 1. And that was red light all the way. A couple of boos coming from the Maize and Blue faithful. It's a decent crowd for a Wednesday night. Michigan's been pulling some great crowds for the weekend games. And with some big home series coming up, I'm sure we'll see even better crowds. The 3-0 pitch is instead a check over to the first base side for Clark Elliott.
And this was what I was exciting for, coming to Michigan and having a college baseball team this good, to be able to get out of your classes in the early afternoon, come to a baseball game, watch it,
right,
get warm. That's
the most part.
At this point in the year.
Burton makes solid contact down the right field line, track, wall, see you later. It's a 9-4 ball game, second homer of the game for the Wolverines. Ted Burton, a 2 RBI homer to right.
And like I said, Burton, crucial at bat for the Wolverines to try and get back in it. He delivers. The third home run we've seen over that right field fence. Seen a lot of hitters go opposite field so far today on their homers. Burton got a hold of it. He is now a 299 hitter following that home run. He was above 300 with runners on. And he delivers a clutch home run to get the Wolverines at least within striking distance. Now 9-4. This game is manageable.
First pitch to Fry is an outside corner strike. Up and out. And as you mentioned, Michigan right back in this ball game. It's still a 5-run spread, but the Wolverines have a heavy set offense. And there's strike 2. That was a beautiful breaking ball from Denmore, and he just got to settle back in himself.
And this early in the game, 5 runs, I don't think is that big of a deficit.
Bouncing ball right side, easy pickup for Miller on the ground, and that will retire Fry. He's now 0 for 2 on the day.
And we'll see what Overtop can do strolling up to the plate. His second at bat, first one a homer.
Now I'll tell you what, this guy, he is a pivotal piece of the lineup for Michigan. He was injured for the majority of last year. He was batting really well early in the season, and now with a full season so far under his belt, he sees a ball that lands up 87 miles an hour from Densmore. And he's a great part of this lineup.
His stats are just massive. 18 walks on the year, 4 homers, 5 doubles, hits .352, .468, and .545. Those are scoring lines that any team would like to have in their cleanup hitter.
Overtop hails from Missouri. Came up to play baseball, already getting a few looks from MLB scouts. Here's the 2-0. And that's outside. So perhaps lurking in the back of the mind of Travis Densmore is that fly ball that Overtop rocketed to right in his first AB. 3-0 count. Here's the delivery. Strike one. I don't think Densmore has missed on a 3-0 pitch so far.
He has, and we talked about it in the open, he controls his walks, gets those strikeouts, but it's been the hard contact that has been the enemy of Densmore so far today.
And there's the first walk of the ball game between both teams. Obertop makes his way down to first base, and a good DH appearance for Obertop on this Wednesday night has been great so far, and that'll leave way for Tito Flores. And Michigan has won their first inning of the ball game.
And almost all of Michigan's hitters draw walks well. That is a hallmark of a great team, the ability to get on base in such a substantial way. Obertop, another one of Michigan's hitters that has an on-base percentage 100 points higher than his batting average. And to be able to get a walk like that against a pitcher like Densmore, who doesn't walk batters often, for Tito Flores, big swing.
Oh, yeah, you went golfing for that one. It was in the dirt. Flores swung on it and missed. 274 batter. Flores in his first AB popped out to the third baseman Nye.
But Obertop being a junior, he's eligible for the MLB draft as a college player this year. That would be a big loss for the Wolverines to lose their starting catcher and one of their best hitters.
Flores sees a ball high and outside, evens up the count at 1. And I was having this conversation with another broadcaster last year. I believe it was our good partner Nabil, that I don't think you can really have much better of a view of the Michigan Athletic Campus from our spot up in the broadcast booth at Ray Fisher. Flores checked his swing. Did he go? No, he did not. 2-1. As you can see, Michigan Stadium, the big house in right field. Straightaway center is the Chrysler Center. You look into left center, you can catch a softball game at Alumni Field. They play right there, and a lot of the time they'll play at the same time as the Wolverines. And then you have Oosterbaan Field in left. Although no athletic events actually take place there, it's still a spectacle itself here on the athletic campus, and now it's 3-1 to Flores. I really don't think you could ask for a much better view. And then, of course, you've got the beautiful parking lot over to the right where you can catch fly balls.
Another 3-1 count on Tito Flores to get back to the baseball game. That's Densmore losing his control. I'll talk more about my experience after this at bat, but great field here.
Big hack from Flores. He's taken a couple of those now today, and it fills up the count. 3-2, 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning between Michigan and Oakland. 9-4 lead for the Golden Grizzlies. They jumped down the Wolverines early with 6 runs in the first. Then they scored another in the top of the second. Michigan got 1 in that same inning. And then top of the inning here, Oakland grabbed 2. Michigan has 3 of their own with a runner on first base and Obertop. Tito Flores, the 5-hole hitter at the plate now. Obertop running, ball 4, back-to-back walks for the Wolverines. And that'll bring up Joe Stewart.
And with a full count, 2 outs, you send Obertop no matter how slow the runner is on first base. Obertop does not have a steal attempt so far this year. You send him, you're guaranteed to have some sort of outcome in the at-bat. But walking into this press box here, this is my first baseball game that I've called at Ray Fisher Stadium. This is beautiful. I mean, I love baseball parks just because I think another aspect of the game is the beauty. The sun comes down, the field's all green. The sights and the sounds of a baseball game are a big part. As there's a mound visit for Densmore in the Oakland infield, but it is a great view. You can see everything. The big house, Chrysler Center. It's a great view.
And Jordan Banfield, the skipper for Oakland, has pulled Densmore out of the game. So Oakland will be going to the pen. Michigan leads it, they trail it 9-4 here on a Wednesday afternoon ball game. Oakland with 10 hits, Michigan with 5. But back to what you were saying, Will.
Yeah, when I called the softball game, the softball press box, we can see it from here, is a little bit offset from home plate. It's down the first base line, and that creates a more interesting viewing angle. But here at Ray Fisher Stadium, being right behind home plate, you get a prime view of the action, and I couldn't imagine, a baseball field not being beautiful, in my opinion. Even the one at Vanderbilt was great.
Does that include East Lansing?
I have not been to East Lansing. I have not been to East Lansing's baseball.
No, McLean Stadium is actually very nice over in East Lansing.
But
that's where they play the finals for the MHSAA high school playoffs here in Michigan.
They do that a lot at Michigan State. I mean, I guess it's the closest to Lansing. But This is a beautiful ballpark. I still can't get over how nice the facilities are all over the place at this university. And I came from a school that just renovated all of their athletic facilities, but Michigan is such a step above, and the away facilities that I've been to so far with WCBN just don't really compare. And I think that's why you see Michigan consistently being one of the top athletic departments in the country in terms of raking in money as well as spending it. They still turn a profit with how much money they have to spend on upkeep and renovations. It's remarkable how the athletic department here, this far north even, I mean, you see it a lot down south and in Texas, but I don't think that there is a parallel this far north in the country compared. You just can't compare it to any other close by university.
Now on the hill for Oakland is Brandon Decker, and he'll take over for Densmore. Book not closed on him quite yet. So far for him, 2 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 strikeout, which is a bit unusual for Densmore. He usually has a couple more Ks, but 2 walks for the end of him today.
It seemed like the walks were what caused the pitching change. I think the Oakland coaching staff expected that hard contact to come off his pitches, but when he starts to lose his control, which is something he does not often display, that's when they sensed trouble, if there wasn't already a lot of it with 4 earned runs in the 3rd inning.
First pitch to Joe Stewart is up and out. 1-0 count, so back-to-back walks for the Wolverines. Stewart at the plate. The graduate transfer from East Lansing, Michigan State. Here's the 1-0. Swung on, sliced foul. That'll go back towards the intramural fields around the athletic campus. In Ann Arbor, it's turned into a beautiful day as the sun's kind of peeked behind a cloud in right field.
This is hopefully a preview with what the rest of the semester will be like. And that slice into the track over past the right field line, I was talking to our director, Adam Bressler. He said when he goes out there running, he can sometimes get nearly hit by a foul ball on that track. That was a slicer that could have done the same to anyone running along that track right now.
1-1 count to Joe Stewart. Decker had just checked over at Tito Flores on first base. He's speedy. He's sitting behind a guy at second base. It doesn't run very often. Here's a foul ball back towards the Michigan dugout for Stewart. Jimmy Overtop, not really a threat to steal a bag. More of a power hitter. And once he gets on base, he's a very smart base runner, but not very speedy.
And it's a contrast to Oakland. Oakland, we've seen a lot of their players take big leads off the bases, and their leadoff hitter, Seth Tucker's got 11 steals. Cam Post has 8.
Well done by Stewart to stay alive. He kind of golfed and fished on one in the other batter's box, and he throws it back to the backstop. It's 1-2.
I have to think by the end of this game, is there going to be a 15-inning game that could have ended shorter than the end time of this game is going to be if it only goes 9 innings. Everyone's staying alive. There's so many runs being scored. It's an exciting game, but it might take 4.5 hours.
1-2 is checked on, and it gets away from the catcher, Heidel. Overtop to third, Flores to second, and Heidel, he may have hurt his hand or tried to stop that ball, and it just bounced off his throwing hand, which is his right, and he'll shake that off.
I've always found catcher to be the most interesting position on the diamond, just with all the responsibilities that they have, including hitting, and the higher frequency of injuries they face having to catch pitches behind the dish. I think that's why you see catchers at higher levels not hitting well as other players.
And this is a foul ball right off the left foot of Stewart, and he's wearing that protective guard on his left foot, but it seems as if it snuck right past it. We'll do the 2-2 again.
I wonder if eventually the sport gets so specialized. I've thought about it before. If there's a second designated hitter for catchers in some games, maybe. I mean, I could see it in college, giving catchers a day off, but
especially since they don't play every day, much like the MLB or minor league baseball, where those guys are playing almost every single day. College baseball, you get a couple days break, then you're right back at it on the weekend. Here's a 2-2 to Stewart. Swung on and missed. Good job by Decker to get out of the inning. Michigan strands 2 runners, 1 on third, 1 on second. Well, Michigan strikes for 3 in the bottom of the third. This is going to be a heck of a baseball game. It's 9-4 Oakland. After getting 6 in the first, Michigan scratched and clawed its way back at least a little bit to be competitive in this ball game.
And in the next inning that Michigan will be at bat, that wasn't a bad at bat by Stewart, the center fielder. He did stay alive for a number of pitches, eventually striking out, but the pitcher for Oakland, Decker, maybe a little winded no matter how many no matter how many innings he throws so far today. The Wolverine hitters have stayed alive in counts and made pitchers work to get them out. That should bode well for the next inning when Michigan has to come back up and get the bottom of the lineup. Not a great spot with Riley Bertram, Van Remortel, and Casey Buckley for them, but we'll see if getting Decker to throw more pitches than he would necessarily need to can get him tired and hopefully inspire some more rallies as we enter the top of the fourth inning.
Keyser will be back on the mound for Michigan, and we've got to say, these young arms, they've really been hitting the strike zone. No walks so far for Michigan pitching, and these Oakland hitters, they've been patient, but the Wolverines are just hitting the strike zone enough to not give them the opportunity for free bags.
And it's just been a function of pounding the strike zone is going to lead to more hitting opportunities, especially for a veteran lineup that knows to choose what pitches to hit like Oakland does, and they have so far today. It's tough to expect these freshman pitchers that they maybe don't have the control that a veteran pitcher would have to ask them to paint the corners or locate their breaking balls with pinpoint precision. That's the reason why they're in college and not why they're in the minor leagues right now. But Jake Keyser pitched well enough in his last inning to get the Wolverines out of it. Still, one of the Wolverines pitchers rocking a over 10 ERA, 1080 is the number for him, and an astounding, in only 5 innings pitched, but he allows the leadoff hitter to get on 80% of the time.
His first pitch to Goulet is low and inside, 1-0. He's a bit harder throwing than the previous two, Golden, Soft, and Wood. He almost hit 89 miles an hour on that first pitch. And here's a nice pitch. It swung on and fouled right off the mask of the umpire, and Casey Buckley turns around and he's making sure he's all right.
That was a funny exchange, and the ump gave him the ball.
They just kind of stared at each other there for a minute.
He must have been asking if home plate umpire was okay. That was a tough foul ball to take off the face, and I didn't really see him flinch.
Oh no, Mike Martin standing strong back there. 1-1 to Goulet. Line drive up the middle, that's a base hit. His second knock of the day, he's now 2 for 3. He had a hit in the first inning that went towards the second baseman. This one splits the middle infielders. A runner on, no outs for Oakland, their 11th hit of the ball game.
And after a countless amount of singles in that first inning and even into the second, we've seen Oakland kind of scale up in terms of extra base hits. They had the home run and the 2 triples, but now returning to what they were doing in the first with the singles. And if they can be annoying, as I said once again, just getting on base every single time, soft grounders, that's a recipe for success to try and push this game further away from Michigan as they try and get back into it.
Decker did not finish down on the curveball, and it was left high, 1-0 to Cam Post. The book is closed on Travis Densmore, the Oakland starter today. 2 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 K. The 1-0 is a strike inside, just painted the corner against Post.
And
left fielder for the Grizzlies is 0 for 2 today.
Keyser back down to around 87, 86 miles an hour, closer to what we saw with Golden Soft and Logan Wood, the starter. Michigan kind of straying away from throwing one of their harder throwing pitchers like Harajli.
The 1-1 is high and outside, 2-1, and it made Buckley come out of his crouch. Michigan does have some action stirring in the bullpen. And that's Angelo Smith, another lefty for Michigan. Keyser comes set for the 2-1. Mitt rested at the belt, and here's a pop-up right side. Easily playable for Van Remortel. He moved about 5 steps to his left, makes a catch with 2 hands, and that's the first out of the inning. Cam Post, the only Grizzly so far without a hit on the day. He's 0 for 3.
Cam Post maybe expecting to join the rest of his teammates in getting on base, but just pops up there. But now Brandon Nye, the young freshman, had the home run earlier in the second inning, 2 for 2 on the day. He's a big bopper as well, similar line to Jimmy Overtop, but he slugs harder.
First pitch to Nye, low and outside. And as we mentioned, this is a veteran lineup for Oakland. However, this is the one freshman that they start.
And he's their best hitter.
Right in the middle of that lineup. He's 2 for 2, 2 RBIs. He scored 2 runs himself. His average is now up to 362 on the year. Here's a foul ball off the foot, and it will roll back to the backstop, 1-1. You see a lot of teams that may have these older veteran lineups, and you talked about this earlier. You see a lot of it, and it's especially an event going on right now, the NCAA basketball tournament. A lot of these mid-major teams that have veteran lineups, juniors, seniors with a lot of experience, perhaps a couple of transfers, those are typically the teams that will give you the most trouble because they're so experienced. The runner goes, there's a throw down to second from Buckley, and it is not in time. That's a stolen base for Brad Goulet. And on the 7th attempt of the year, that's his 6th stolen back.
And the curveball, the perfect pitch to run on for Goulet. If it was a fastball, it might have gotten to Buckley sooner to be able to throw out the runner. But like you said, having seniors is a big advantage for mid-major teams, but then I think that very talented freshman or young player really pushes those teams over the edge, something that a team like that wouldn't normally have.
The 1-2 misses inside. That evens the count at 2. A threat on second base in Brad Goulet. And Brandon Nye, perhaps their best hitter, the freshman, currently at the plate. Standing over the plate, swinging the bat up and down. He readies for the 2-2 from Keyser. He delivers another curveball, and it misses above the head. Fills up the count, 3-2-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
Nye ducked under that one, and he felt a little disrespected looking towards his own dugout coming back up. They were shouting that pitch was a little high, a little close to the head, but gets out of the way luckily.
Keyser will check on the runner, Goulet at second base.
I feel like the rules of what constitutes a balk are different in college. I see these pitchers come off the mound in ways that I would think would be called a balk. It's obviously a rare thing to call, but they do throw to second base quite a bit, or at least threaten to.
The 3-2 is up and in. And Nye will take a slow jog down to first base with runners now on the first 2 bases, first and second. As Angelo Smith continues to get ready in the bullpen, there's a second arm up for the Wolverines. However, the light poles are blocking our view. Angelo Smith, a 3/4 throwing lefty. He's been warming up for a minute or two now in the Michigan bullpen. No action for Oakland. As now at the plate is Michael Steigels. He sees strike 1. 1 for 2 on the day. Has an RBI, scored a run. Now batting an even 200. Entered today batting 186.
He's played really well for Oakland so far. Better than I thought he would. He is hitting 5th. So his talent must be there for the Oakland coaching staff to keep believing in him. It's just he's had an unlucky season, I would bet. He does walk quite a bit, has a 300 on base percentage while only hitting 200 for his average. So looks like he's a talented hitter. That in only 45 plate appearances, that's a really small sample size to be able to judge somebody. He might be finally entering his stride.
And that was ball 1. Here's the 1-1. That's high. Say about a ball's width above the strike zone, according to Mike Martin. 2-1. Keyser's walked 1, struck out 1. Michigan already using their 3rd arm of relief so far. The 2-1 in there for a strike. It evens up the count at 2-2. And perhaps a more aggressive Michael Steigels on the Deuces wild pitch. Michigan perhaps looking for a roller here to get a double play and head to the bottom of the 4th and try and scratch back a little bit more than they already have. 9-4 advantage for Oakland, top 4. Keyser's 2-2 is a low and outside.
Interesting about Steigels, he's 444 with runners in scoring position, so he gets into a clutch mode, and you do have a man on second, Goulet, Nye at first. and Steigels has proven to be dangerous today. On a full count, look out for a good outcome for Steigels.
The full count pitch from Keyser. Runner goes, swung on and missed. Throw down the third base is not in time. It was not a great throw from the catcher Buckley over to Fry, and sliding in there safely is Goulet. So that's another stolen bag for Goulet. Runners now on the corners with 2 outs. The first strikeout for Keyser.
And the Oakland team just continues to steal bags at a very high rate. Goulet with 8 ties him for second on the team. Cam Post also has 8. We talked about Seth Tucker having 11. You have Steigels and Phillips, each with 4 stolen bases on the year. A couple other players with 2. It's a big part of Oakland's game plan. Not been the most impactful in this game, but I can imagine in a closer game, that ability to steal bags in the way that they can is a very useful thing.
Here's Brenton Phillips, a little floater towards the right side, and a diving play by Van Remortel. That'll end the inning. The threat is no more for Oakland, and we'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning, 9-4. Good job by Keyser and a wonderful defensive play by Jack Van Remortel in his first game back from injury.
What a great defensive play by a first baseman to make, drifting away from the bag, being able to catch that on the run, dive for it, and keep it in the glove. A couple different steps that Van Remortel had to make that catch, and he hit them all, gets the third out of the inning, and for the first time, Michigan holds Oakland scoreless
0
in a frame.
And not to mention, he was also holding the runner Brandon Nye on first base while he had to come off and make that play. So excellently done by Jack Van Remortel, and Michigan's going to get a chance to try and score a couple runs here. They're going to have the bottom of the order, 7, 8, and 9. However, Riley Bertram grounded into a double play, so we put the ball in play. Van Remortel singled, and then Buckley grounded out to the shortstop. So 3 guys from Michigan that put the ball in play, and all of them were pretty solidly hit. But now it's going to be against a different pitcher in Brandon Decker, who came on for Travis Densmore in the 3rd.
And Van Remortel, a big bat to have back in the lineup coming off of that injury. They slide Ted Burton to second with Van Remortel going in at third, and Alex Feggie Johnson, the graduate student, gets forced out of the lineup. He was not a great hitter in his time as a starter so far this year, and it's definitely a benefit to have Van Remortel back in. He bats 8th today as a first baseman. Not common to see, but to have Ted Burton, Riley Bertram, and Matt Fry as your infield, that looks pretty good.
Michigan has had 6 guys that have started every single game this season. This is one of them, Riley Bertram, the shortstop. 6-4-3 double play, his first time up, that ended the 2nd inning, in which Michigan got a home run from Obertop. Strike 1, outside corner, Brandon Decker, nice pitch.
And I'm surprised with Bertram at shortstop that he started every game, especially with Feggie Johnson coming out of the starting lineup. Maybe give Bertram an off day once in a while.
Slider misses low and in from Decker. Count now 1-1.
Shortstop's one of the most intensive positions on the diamond. Got to make plays often.
Oh, nice pitch on the outside corner. That looked like the changeup from Decker, and swung on and missed from Bertram. Counts now at 1-2. Dangerous spot for Riley.
Unlike the Michigan pitchers, these Oakland pitchers' breaking balls are not as slow as compared to their fastball. Only drop about 10 miles an hour, while the Wolverines' curveballs and breaking balls drop about 15.
It looks like Decker is just sticking with those off-speed pitches. Now at 2-2, that was a changeup outside. Here's a 2-2. He missed outside again. This time it was the fastball. So it looks as if it's about a 7-8 mile an hour difference between the fastball and changeup. That fastball was at 87.4 miles an hour, according to the Ray Fisher Stadium speedometer. We'll call it in right field. There's a ground ball towards the right side. Goulet, nice scoop throw over to Miller. 1 gone in the bottom of the 4th inning.
We got that fastball up to 89 miles an hour, so that's a big variance, I'd say, in between fastball velocities going from 87 up to 89. That's enough to make a hitter question, what they're seeing, to have a pitch go 87, 89, and then your changeup / curveball / whatever you want to call it goes down to 80, 79 miles an hour. I always think that having those little differences in velocity works well for a pitcher, as the hitter might not be able to tell what's actually coming because the differences are so small.
Vander Mortal sees ball 1, just above his shoelaces and Nike cleats. The right-handed batter stands back in the batter's box, a more relaxed stance, and he waits for the 1-0. And now 1-1. Nice pitch from Decker. Vander Mortal has one plate appearance, came in the last inning. He led off, had a base hit to right. Ended up being scored on a Clark Elliott single. And his pitch is in the dirt, and it bounces past the catcher Heidel. 2-1 on Jack Vander Mortal. 281 batter on the season. No homers, but as I mentioned, just returning from injury that he suffered down in Carolina in the Keith LeClaire Classic, in which Michigan played schools like Eastern Carolina, Maryland. Here's a 2-1. Popped up towards the right side, so 2 straight opposite field shots for Vander Mortal. This one is a fly ball caught by the right fielder Phillips, so 1-2, and can Decker make it 3 here in the 4th?
And Vander Mortal, a better hitter than his stats give him credit for, I think. He entered this game as a 251 hitter. That one hit got him up to 281. So as he moves forward, coming back from injury, his stats his triple slash should only seem to go up as he continues to play consistently. And this Michigan lineup it'll have balance all over once he finally gets back up to full strength. Buckley now, not a great hitter.
He sees ball 1 low and outside. As you mentioned, not a great hitter, a sub .08 hitter at that. Michigan, who blanked Oakland in the top half of this inning. Oakland looking to blank them as well. A foul ball that looked like it could have come right back into the booth was blocked by the backstop. It's 1-1.
And that's always something, as I've begun to sit in these baseball and softball press boxes, that ball coming right back to the net, you know the net's there, but you still get scared.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Can't avoid it.
1-1 is launched in the center, but playable for Tucker. At the Block M logo in center field, makes the catch drifting in the left center. A 1-2-3 inning for Decker. And Michigan will head to the top of the 5th inning, trailing 9-4. And that's a bit odd. Do you see the scoreboard? There's 2 zeros in the 4th inning.
We're moving quickly. It's 5:45 and
playing for an hour and a half. We've been through 8 frames.
Getting up to the 5th inning. That pop-up by the catcher up to center field made me think about this outfield. Seems pretty spacious here at Ray Fisher Stadium, I'd say. Going out 395 dead center. There's a lot of different outcrops. It's not exactly a semicircle outfield. It's got some straight lines, some jagged edges to it. Those bigger outfields are always obviously tougher for outfielders to play.
Walker Cleveland will be the new pitcher for Michigan, a North Gwinnett alum.
And I saw him pitch against Vanderbilt. He started that game. It was his first start of the season. He throws a low velocity fastball around 80 miles an hour. And he was hit hard in that game. Got a lot of players on, Vanderbilt did, but they left a lot of them on base, and that's what led the Wolverines to almost close that game out. But Cleveland, the senior, the left-hander, second left-handed pitcher to come in for the Wolverines, that off-speed pitch has been a problem so far, I'd say, for Oakland. The 87-mile-an-hour fastballs that we've seen from pitchers like Wood and the other 2 relievers we've seen have been the ones that the Golden Grizzlies have turned on. Maybe Walker Cleveland's change in velocity will allow for some different outcomes.
You've got to give a hand to the 3rd reliever today, Jake Keyser. He went 2 innings, only allowed 1 hit, no earned runs. He walked 1 but struck out 2, and that's exactly what Eric Bakich is looking for, and also Steve Merriman, pitching coach for Michigan, out of his staff. And you get 2 innings from a youngster, a freshman, and that's the future of the program. Guys like that, Keyser, Goldensoff, even Logan Wood is a sophomore, although he did not have a great start today. 2/3 inning pitched, 6 runs. That's what you like to see out of the youngster, Jake Keyser. Perhaps more opportunities for him now down the line.
He definitely pitched well, and it's been an experiment throwing out all the different freshmen that Michigan has so far today. Now Cleveland, the senior, comes in to offer a little bit more experience, but Keyser pitched well, and we talked about finding that diamond in the rough of the bullpen. Maybe it's Keyser. He hadn't had the greatest start to the season, but then again, what Michigan pitcher has so far. Cleveland rocking a close to 7 ERA, but if the Wolverines can get some production out of Keyser down the home stretch of the season, that's a good ad for them.
The first pitch to the first baseman Miller is low and in, 1-0.
You see Cleveland coming out with that 72-mile-an-hour pitch, first pitch he throws.
He's already pounding the inside part of the zone. It's 2-0. That one just missed. Jared Miller batting out of the 7 slot today. Single and triple, including an RBI. And that triple came in a 2-2 count, so he's patient. Here's a bunt towards the left field line, and that is a beautiful bunt, and it will stay fair. About an inch and a half between that baseball and the foul pole. That was a beautiful bunt by Miller. He's now 3 for 3.
Oh my goodness, I've never seen a bunt want to stay so fair so badly. That ball did not want to cross the line to go foul, and I think that might be a danger for Oakland. They obviously would have the scouting report on Walker Cleveland, won't get above 80 miles an hour, 81 miles an hour too much, and with such a speedy lineup, they've showed bunt quite a bit. To be able to tee up a pitch that slow, I don't think would be that hard, and it doesn't have a lot of movement. It's his primary fastball pitch. Maybe see Oakland and their speedy lineup get on base that way more.
And here's a sharp ground ball that splits the third baseman and shortstop, so back-to-back singles for Oakland has runners on first and second base in the top of the 5th inning.
Not the start you want
by Thomas Green.
Not the start you want for Cleveland. Bringing in a senior, you want some stability. Maybe you keep in Keyser, but I guess he is a freshman coming in relief. Don't want to pitch him for too long. But after that only scoreless inning for Oakland, I think Michigan really wanted Walker Cleveland to come out and be able to shut the game down from an offensive perspective for Oakland.
Now here's Brandon Heidel. He's 1 for 2 today, and he'll immediately square to bunt against Cleveland. Delivers, and it's down the third base line again. Cleveland getting to it. That one will go foul. It just hit the lip of the grass and the dirt, which is not much on this turf field, and it barely rolls foul, but they are doing a wonderful job of placing those bunts down the third base line.
And like I said, this might be a continuing theme for as long as Cleveland's in the game. Oakland is not shy about bunting, and they're not shy about their speed. This could present a real problem for the Wolverines.
And Heidel, who is now barely sub 260 on the year, batting out of the 9 spot. You mentioned that it's a bit odd in which Oakland puts together their lineup. The 5, 6, 7 hitters are all 225 and minus. And then the final 2 in the lineup are now 255 and up. Squaring to bunt again. It's a breaking ball that bounces into the catcher, Buckley. He makes a nice stop. It's now 1-1.
68 miles an hour. That's the slowest pitch we've seen so far today. Cleveland, old school. We've seen more velocity and more velocity as the years have gone on in baseball. Cleveland throwing it back. But like you said, I think Oakland is taking a more sabermetric approach to how they construct their lineup, trying to turn it over with 2 better hitters in the bottom.
And this bunt is brought right back to the backstop, so perhaps no more chance at a bunt for Brandon Heidel to advance the runners over. No outs here in the top of the 5th inning. Runners on first and second. Jared Miller at second, Thomas Green at first, Brandon Heidel at the plate.
And Heidel does have a hit so far today using the traditional approach of not bunting. So he has been a danger along with the bottom of the Oakland lineup. Everybody's got a hit except for Cam Post so far today.
The 1-2 from Cleveland. He'll check on the runner at second base, Miller. And Heidel has a hit off the lefty, and he popped out against the righty Keyser. The hit in the first inning came against Logan Wood. They batted around in that first inning. Seth Tucker, the leadoff man, had 2 AVs. He lurks on deck. Cleveland, here's a little floater towards the right side. Oh, man, what a beautiful play by Ted Burton. He left his feet, made a beautiful grab, a snow cone delight, and the Wolverines have their first out in the top of the 5th inning. That is a wonderful SC top 10 type play from the second baseman, Ted Burton.
And that's the first time that a ground ball's made its way to Ted Burton, following so many that's gone to the third base side to Matt Fry and Riley Bertram. No chance Burton lets that one go by without challenging it. He makes a nice catch for the out, and Michigan just trying to close the door on Oakland's inning here.
The pickoff move over to first base is thrown towards the wall. Looked like Vander Mortal got tangled up with Green, and now there's runners on second and third base. Now this brings up a question for Eric Bakich. Do you dare walk the leadoff man Seth Tucker, who's been consistently one of the two best hitters for the Golden Grizzlies this season compared to their cleanup hitter Brandon Nye? Do you put Brad Goulet at the plate with the bases loaded and one out?
I'm not sure. This is a really tough spot. Maybe you'd want Campos to come back up, but Goulet, I don't know if you want him up with the bases loaded. He's played so well so far today, but this is obviously what they'll talk about in this mound visit.
And this is Eric Bakich and not Steve Merriman, so will the ball be taken away from him? It doesn't look like it will. And Angelo Smith has been continuously getting warm now for about 2 different innings.
He's walking around the pen, walking towards the gate to come out. Not sure if he's being called in. We'll see. He is.
So about an extended visit, maybe giving Smith an extra minute or two to prepare himself. That's a quick appearance for Walker Cleveland. He'll leave runners on second and third base after the pickoff move, and that's the second error of the game on Michigan. The error will be given to the pitcher, Walker Cleveland.
And Cleveland, I talked about when he entered, that velocity. He just doesn't have a pitch that gets above 80 miles an hour, and that represents a problem. When Oakland has shown bunt, they can easily tee up that pitch that does not have a lot of movement but is very slow for the college level. I'm surprised that when I watched him against Vanderbilt that didn't happen, but Cleveland just couldn't get it out really. Not a great arsenal to face off against a speedy team like Oakland.
Now this brings on Angelo Smith, 1-0 on the season, 8 2/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. He's walked 6, K'd 10, allowed a couple of doubles, but not much power off bats against Angelo Smith, and that's perhaps something that Eric Bakich is looking for out of little number 40, Angelo Smith, and the leadoff man, Seth Tucker, still at the plate for the Golden Grizzlies. They lead it by 5. However, they have 13 hits compared to Michigan's 5. Michigan's still very much in this game, but they're going to have to get out of this one with the Golden Grizzlies going scoreless if they want a really good chance in coming back.
And it's no wonder at 5'9" that Angelo Smith is more of a contact hitter, not overpowering. And I think what you said, Zach, that's exactly what Michigan wants. Not a lot of power to the gaps. We've seen some gap hits so far today, those 2 triples. Coach Bakich wants grounders to maybe lead to a double play or at least keep the runners on second and third there instead of advancing to home plate. Try and hope for some ground balls for outs at home plate or outs at first base. Smith just needs to come in and shut it down and have the second half inning for the Wolverines to not allow a run here in the top of the 5th. Have the Michigan offense come back out for the bottom of the 5th. They're still only down those 5 runs as we enter the back half of this game pretty soon here. Still a shot for the Wolverines to come back.
Smith pitched last Friday against Nebraska. He threw for a third of an inning, and he allowed 2 hit by pitch, and he was quickly taken out of that game in the lone loss of the series. Tucker pops one up, first pitch, and that'll be the center fielder Stewart. Will he make a throw? He will. It's the throw that's well off. Buckley has to slide over. It's a sacrifice fly for Seth Tucker. It looked well in the range of Joe Stewart, but the throw was a bit errant and took Buckley away from the plate.
And that was not a good outcome for Angelo Smith. We talked about wanting to come in and induce soft contact. He lets up a perfect sac fly opportunity for Seth Tucker. He gathers the RBI. And we talked about Angelo Smith having the outing against Nebraska only being 1 out, a third of an inning. And that was also a function of having pitched against Xavier 2 days before, pitching 3 1/3 innings. Now with 5 days of rest in between those outings and today, maybe he goes a little bit further if he can pitch well enough.
Line drive towards the left side. That's a fair ball. Dive past the diving Fry. Into the corner. Flores is over, and that'll be a stand-up double for the two-hole hitter, Brad Goulet. That's his third hit of the ball game, and another RBI for the Golden Grizzlies. They're now up 11-4 over the Wolverines at Ray Fisher.
And over the past 2 innings, I'd say Oakland is teeing up on the off-speed for Michigan. That pitch coming in at around 73 miles an hour. Obviously, we talked about the damage that the Golden Grizzlies did to Walker Cleveland, but Smith coming in right away with the off-speed. Oakland not having any of it, especially in this top of the lineup. These hitters feast and have feasted on the Wolverines' pitches so far today.
Here's Cam Post, the only Golden Grizzly without a base knock on the afternoon. He's 0 for 3. Strikeout, ground out, pop out. He fouls one back to the screen following a ball low and outside. It's now 1-1. Angelo Smith, the graduate student. He mentioned a little bit on the shorter side for pitchers, 5'9", 175, hails from Thornton, Illinois, Richard High School. And this is a balk. Brad Goulet will have a free third base. And now with a runner on third and a 1-1 count, Cam Post has a great RBI opportunity. And you mentioned it's rare, but it happens. Pitch delivered, Post fly ball down the right field line. It looks like it'll go foul. And it's safe into the Oakland bullpen as about 4, 5, 6 different youngsters chase after it. And that's even the more scary part, is there is perhaps oncoming traffic in the parking lot.
Just run around, kids. Run around right in the parking lot.
Perhaps unsupervised.
There's some
For the souvenir, though.
person out there.
The 1-2 pitch is laced into right field, right past the diving Burton. Scooped up by Elliott, and that's another RBI. But this time Cam Post now has a base hit. Every single Golden Grizzly has a hit in this ball game. 12-4 Oakland.
What about this game? I mean, the Golden Grizzlies, every aspect of their game, save for maybe the pitching, has been not great today. But against a Michigan offense that is as good as it is, the pitching's been serviceable, especially when you score 12 runs before the 5th inning is over. That play there gets by the outstretched arm of Ted Burton. Could not make the play like he did earlier today, making a diving grab. And now another mound visit for Angelo Smith. Maybe, I mean, when are you going to see positions players pitching in this one?
Oh, Lord, give us that opportunity. Michigan will go to the bullpen. It looks like Angelo Smith's day is done. And perhaps a bit disappointing. He got a fly ball against his first batter, Seth Tucker, the leadoff man, into center field. However, Joe Stort, the center fielder, could not throw out the runner at that time, Jared Miller. 3 runs so far in the inning for Oakland on 4 hits. And a sacrifice as Angelo Smith is done. He completes 1/3 of an inning. And this may be perhaps a move as well for Angelo Smith, to where you want to save his arm for the home series this weekend against a Big Ten opponent. Only throw him out there, get him loose. And he didn't do a bad job, but just a couple of solid contact past some diving defenders for the Wolverines.
And Amaj Harajli comes into the game for Michigan. He is the first flamethrower that we've seen so far today. Most of the pitchers for the Wolverines have come out throwing mid-80s. Harajli above 90, gets up to 95. I've seen him touch. But Smith, like you said, want to just save his arm for this weekend. And another thing about Angelo Smith is that he is a lefty. They have pitched 3 lefties so far today to only 2 righties. And Oakland, without a lefty in the lineup, that's kind of a curse for Michigan to have as many left-handed pitchers as they do. They do lose that handedness battle sometime when trying to bring up pitchers, and that is a decent enough advantage that you need to consider in any righty-lefty matchup. And Michigan has not fared well with it so far today. Wood was shelled in the first inning. He's a lefty. Cleveland and Smith, those 3 pitchers have constituted the worst performances so far today. Avery Goldensoft, a righty, came in, allowed a couple runs, and then the other pitcher, Kieser, the right-handed freshman, pitched well. He's been the best pitcher for the Wolverines today. Only had that short amount of time of work, but Harasley, another righty. We'll see if he can continue the trend of the right-handed pitchers for the Wolverines faring better than the lefties.
And he'll begin his appearance with a runner on first base, 2 outs. And Harajali is also a former teammate of mine in travel baseball. Shout out to the Oakland Reds at the time. Him and I had just happened to be the 1-2 starting duo for tournaments every weekend. And I'll tell you what, Raj was actually a really good friend of mine, stay in contact quite a bit. And he does indeed throw very hard.
It is definitely a change-up, to use a baseball term, to see pitchers at the college level. I mean, we saw so many guys so far today throwing mid-80s, but to see Harasley touch mid-90s, it's just something different.
First pitch to Brandon Nye is outside. Single to center, home run and a walk. Safe to say he's been the best of the Golden Grizzlies batters today, and that's pretty difficult to pick out considering they all have at least 1 hit, 15 hits so far for Oakland. The 1-0. Just high.
So, Zach, you only pitched in travel baseball. You didn't hit, right?
Oh, no, I hit.
Okay, so you hit. So, did you ever take live BP against Harasley? See his.
I don't think I
see his
ever
stuff?
took live BP against him. That team I was a PO. The next team I was on, I did hit, but him and I were both guys that did not want to touch a bat for that one summer. This one's fouled back to the screen.
Well, when you have the gift of throwing 94, 95, I don't know why you'd want to touch a bat.
I believe at that point I could say he was a little baby on the mound. He was throwing probably low 80s. That was quite a long time ago. The 2-1 swung on and missed. Beautiful pitch at 95. He's got the type of arm and size that you would see as a developmental piece in the MLB. Really wide stance for Brandon Nye in the right-handed batter's box. He's a bit crouched. Here's a 2-2 from Raj. Swung on, missed. No chance at it. 96 on the gun. And Ahmad Harajali will take a slow waltz off the mound, and that'll end the inning. 3 runs for Oakland in the top of the 5th. Michigan's got a long way to go. They trail by 8, heading to bottom 5.
And that's why you bring him in. That high heat strikes dudes out, gets the Wolverines out of the inning, and offers a distinct difference between the other pitchers Michigan has thrown. I mean, I hear all the time that the difference between mid-80s and mid-90s is night and day. So having a pitcher that's able to do that is something special for Michigan.
Oakland leaves 1 on, 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error in the inning. And it looks like Oakland's going to stick with the same pitcher, Brandon Decker. He's done a fantastic job so far, keeping Michigan's batters at bay. Today, 1 1/3 innings pitched. He's not allowed a hit. He struck out 1. He's faced 4 batters so far.
We are now officially halfway through this game, 2 hours in.
2 hours in. And what's funny about that is there's a 2-minute timer on the scoreboard that's sitting in right field, and almost every single half inning that's began before that 2-minute timer is even up.
The thing I've noticed about college is that they work fairly quickly.
You look at this, there's 1 minute left, and the throw to second base just happened.
Yeah, and I saw that pitch clock at Vanderbilt. It's about 20 seconds between pitches, and every single pitcher was working, with 13 seconds left on the pitch clock. That pitch was already coming to home plate. So unlike Major League Baseball, I don't think there's a lot of wasting time, and we can talk about the commercials and other things like that waste time during a baseball game. The reason that this game is going so long has just been pure excitement, pure offense, plays in the field, balls in play, and I think that's why you see the number of fans that there are on a weekday afternoon.
Decker, ball 1 to Clark Elliott, the leadoff man from Michigan, getting his 3rd plate appearance today. The 1-0 is right in there for a strike. That's a nice pitch right at the knees for Decker. And tell you what, these 2 pitchers today for Oakland, they've been superb. Even count 1-1 for Clark Elliott, the Michigan right fielder, playing into the shift. 3 defenders on the right side. Nice pitch, outer corner by Decker.
And Elliott, so many interesting things about Clark Elliott as a leadoff hitter. I'm sad we don't get to have a runner on second base to check what his runners in scoring position average is now. But being shifted on when you're still a 350 hitter, that's something.
And there's ball 2. It's in the dirt. Nicely scooped up by Heidel behind the dish. Oakland 6 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, a donut in the fourth. That's rare for them today. And then a 3 spot in the fifth has them up 12-4. Here's a ground ball right side. That's why the shift is employed. Miller over to first base, steps on first, 1 gone. Unblemished for Decker so far in 5 batters faced.
And we talk about the consistent run production for Oakland. They only have that 1 home run. They did have 2 triples, but it only resulted in 1 RBI for each of them. They've done it slowly chipping away with singles and walks a lot of the time. 1 base at a time. They get a couple steals in. Methodically work down the lineup has been the name of the game for Oakland so far today. When for Michigan, it was that home run from Obertop and then the 1 inning in the third that has produced all 4 of their runs so far today.
0-1. Burton gets a hold of one left center field. Going back to the track is the left fielder post. He makes the catch. Man, that's the deepest part of the ballpark. And Ted Burton put a rocket blaster underneath that ball just a bit too high into no wind in Ann Arbor. He almost made it a 12-5 ball game.
And it must be a real disappointment for Burton to hit that ball into that alleyway in left center field, not be able to have that ball go out of the park. Maybe if he hit it in the right field fence that we've seen 3 homers go over today, it would have been. But
Fry is 0 for 2. There's a ball just below the knees, probably midway up the shin. 1-0 to the left-handed batter. Now sitting at 284 on the season. He's seen his batting average fall a bit today. He skies a fly ball towards left. Gliding back towards post, he'll make the catch right into the glove. And there's a 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Decker. Man, has he been fantastic today for Oakland out of the bullpen.
And we heard a couple of fans screaming "see ya" on that fly ball. I didn't think it had as much carry off the bat to be a home run. Pretty predictable that it ended up as a pop fly to left field. But one thing about Fry that's amazing is he's got 21 walks and only 15 strikeouts on the year. He's got a 281 average, but his on-base percentage is almost 430. That's great discipline from the freshman, like we talked about. Now, the senior, Willie Weiss, I saw him. He's coming in. Harajli only gets the third of an inning of work, so they don't want to waste him once again, just like they didn't really want to waste Angelo Smith. But Willie Weiss came in the 8th inning against Vanderbilt. Michigan was up 4-2, I believe. And he was working well until the bottom of the 9th when Vanderbilt plated 3 to win the game 5-4 on a walk-off wild pitch from Weiss. Hopefully looking to redeem himself in this one. Still rocks a 7.82 ERA. And against leadoff hitters, he allows a hit almost 55% of the time.
Willie Weiss, pretty much the everyday closer for Michigan last year, especially when they were really successful midway through the season. He was a part of the team that went to the College World Series, didn't play all that much at that point, but a recruit from the West Coast. They went all the way to Portland, Oregon to pluck Willie Weiss out of the talent group. Westview High School, the right-hander is now a senior. And man, can he throw the ball hard when he wants to, but he does have some control issues. I was calling a game last year, I believe against Indiana, where Coach Backish had to get him out fast. I believe it was 2 or 3 hit by pitch, an extra walk, no hits.
And that control was a problem for Weiss in the Vanderbilt game. Like I said, it was a walk-off wild pitch that he allowed, that allowed the second baseman for Vanderbilt, Tate Kolwick, to score from third. And he'll definitely need to get that under control today, as we've seen a couple walks for the Oakland players, along with all the hits that they've amassed. Every single starter in the lineup has a hit so far today. But their discipline's been great too, and at the top of the lineup, as we've advanced past that, but Steigels, the 5th hitter, does have the ability to walk. He's got 7 walks on the year. So that's something to watch for Willie Weiss. He's got 15 strikeouts, 11 walks allowed this year. Strikeout to walk ratio not great, similar to the freshman starter Logan Wood earlier today. We'll see what Weiss, the senior, can do.
Just prior to the season, Weiss was named the 19th overall MLB draft prospect in the Big Ten. So out of the 13 schools that participate in baseball in the Big Ten, here's a squared bunt by Steigels, and he brings it back, ball 1. Been almost a month since the last time that Weiss got a save. That was back on March 4th against Maryland, who was ranked inside the top 25 at the time. And there's strike one. Nice pitch by Weiss. He likes to work really fast, an aggressive pitcher. And he'll go straight back to the hill. The 1-1. Low and outside. I mean, you talk about tempo. Willie Weiss is a guy that has it. He throws a strike, he goes right back to the hill, stares you down, does not have much patience for his opposition. Comes set for the 2-1. Fly ball towards the right field side. Ranging over is Elliott, and he runs into the wall. Man, that was quite the collision, but it looked like he held himself up just in time. Counts now 2-2 against Steigels, batting out of the 5 spot. 1 for 3 today.
Weiss getting up to 93.5 miles an hour on the gun, similar to Harasley in his velocity. Michigan continuing to throw some flamethrowers out there after the repeated bunt attempts when Walker Cleveland and Angelo Smith stepped up.
The 2-2. Breaking ball, strike 3, got him looking. Beautiful pitch by Weiss, 1 down here in the 6th.
And we'll see if this is the Willie Weiss we see for the rest of his appearance today, being the Willie Weiss that can strike batters out and keep his walks and balls under control, especially against the bottom of the Oakland lineup. I say it's the bottom, but it's the 5, 6, 7 spots being the players on the Golden Grizzlies team that have the lowest batting averages.
Here's Brenton Phillips, 1 for 3 today, and he line drive into center field, sending Stewart back, and that's past the outraged glove. And Phillips will make his way to second, and he will hold up there as the cutoff man, Burton, heads into right field.
The freshman Keyser's short appearance in the 4th inning continues to just look better and better for the Wolverines. There has not been a pitcher except for Keyser that has stepped up and been able to deliver. Double allowed there by Willie Weiss. He does have the strikeout, but Michigan back in a situation with a runner in scoring position for Oakland.
And this is Jared Miller. He has 1 RBI on the day. He's scored 3 runs, though. Every single time he's come up to the plate, he's plated a run. Weiss goes fastball and leaves it high at 94.
I don't think it's often that entering the 6th inning you see a hitter that's already 3 for 3 with 3 runs.
12-4 to lead for Oakland over Michigan. Top of the 6th inning, 16 hits for the Golden Grizzlies compared to the Wolverines' 5. The 1-0 pitch is low and outside. Nice stop by Buckley, though, behind the plate. 2-0. Sharp ground ball to left field. Line drive to center. And then that bunt down the left field line. And I'll tell you what, one of the best bunts I've seen here at Ray Fisher. Swung on miss. Beautiful breaking ball from Weiss. Slowed it down just a touch. Maybe the changeup that went right past the right-handed bat of Miller. 2-1.
Those changeups that are just slightly slower than the fastball is such a great pitch for a pitcher to have. Just keeps the hitter on his toes.
2-1 check swing. Low check down to the first base umpire today, Michael Curtis. He says no with the wave of his arms. 3-1. Hitters count for Jared Miller. Looking to capitalize again. Ball 4. First walk for Willie Weiss. Struck out Steigels looking, allowed a double, and now there's 2 runners on after the Miller walk.
In Michigan, nobody in the bullpen warming, but
you got to wonder how many guys they have left. This is the 7th arm the Wolverines have used.
And it might be danger time for Willie Weiss. He allows that walk, had the strikeout in the first at bat, but then allows that double. Lets Miller get on with a walk, and we talked about Weiss's control issues. Here comes Thomas Green up. He's been a great hitter so far today. Got his average up to 300.
The fastball bounces off the left shin pad of Buckley, and that will advance the runners to second and third, and Weiss gives him a puzzled look. And the 2 seniors are off kilter. Phillips to third, Miller to second, and Thomas Green, who already has 2 RBIs on the day, could add 2 more to that tally.
And Green up to a 300, 379, 580 hitter, but he's hitting 8th. That is so surprising to me the way Oakland constructs their lineup. We've talked about it before, but it's just really interesting, and it's served them very well so far today to have competent hitters at the bottom of the lineup to continue the rallies that they've gone on so far today.
1-0 count to Thomas Green. The infield's in for Michigan. And that pitch just misses. 2-0. Much to the dismay of a couple Maize and Blue fans that are sticking around here at Ray Fisher for a game that perhaps surprised quite a few people. The 10-12 Oakland Golden Grizzlies giving it to one of the Big Ten's best. Here's the 2-0 from Weiss. Swung on and missed. Beautiful pitch at 95, right at the knees.
I'm surprised. This is the second straight at bat the Wolverines are playing Thomas Green in. He did have the triple in the third, had a single in the fifth. I don't know if he's the batter the Wolverines would want to play in on. He has not shown bunt so far today, as far as I can remember, compared to the other Golden Grizzly hitters.
There's another nice pitch from Weiss, another 94.5-mile-an-hour heater.
And we see
the inside part of the plate.
We see another big hack from Green there. He's been swinging it hard this at bat, looking for something to pop off his bat and send both of these runners home.
2-2 count to Green. Pitch from Weiss is fouled out of play.
We got some students down in the stands making some noise for each of these pitches.
Well, the sun has now fully tucked itself away behind the clouds. Back to being a little gloomy. About 53 degrees outside. Here's a 2-2 from Weiss. Ground ball left side through the gap. That'll score at least one run. And the second run will be held up. Heading to second base now is Green. He'll slide in safely. And an RBI single extended for Thomas Green. His third RBI on the game. Oakland now leads 13-4. The runner holding up at third was Miller. Brenton Phillips was plated.
We have two pitchers warming in the Michigan pen, but really, what's the point at this point? Down 13-4. Maybe when it was 9-4, the Wolverines would have a chance, but every time the Wolverines have tried to answer back, Oakland's just pushed it further.
Weiss now faces off against Heidel. Here's a line drive left side, foul. That was solid contact from Brandon Heidel, but way too early on it. He turned on a Weiss fastball and right over the cap of the Oakland third base coach.
And Heidel, we've talked about him being in the 9 spot, being interesting at catcher. Got that hit and 2 RBIs today. Good contact on that last pitch.
The 0-1 is flied into right field. That'll send Elliott back. It'll score a run and a sacrifice. Both runners will move up. And Oakland has now taken a 10-run lead over the Wolverines, 14-4.
And a sizable Oakland crowd making some noise after that sac fly. Up 14-4. It seems like there's more Oakland fans, audible Oakland fans in attendance than Michigan fans.
And I'd say it's certainly easy when your team is up by 10 runs. They've played back-to-back nights now. They played Division II Saginaw Valley State, who's usually a pretty good team out of the GLIAC. And now they're playing one of the Big Ten's best baseball programs in Michigan, at least as of recently. Finished third in the Big Ten last year. And Oakland has certainly given it to the Wolverines today. 14-4 in the top of the 6th inning. They've only gone 1 inning without a run. That was back in the 4th.
Oakland has definitely broken out of their early season skid. At a point, they lost 9 of 10.
Here's a fly ball towards the right side, ranging foul. Elliott over. He makes a basket catch. Beautiful play by Clark Elliott. That'll end the inning as he gets Seth Tucker's fly ball in his mitt. Willie Weiss will take a slow walk-off in a depleted Michigan Wolverines team. They trail by 10 against Oakland at home in Ann Arbor.
And at a point this year, Oakland had started 2-11. I mean, not a great opening so far to the year, but then since March 16th, they've only lost 2 games. All the rest of them have been wins. And those 3 games this past weekend against Purdue Fort Wayne twice, and then the game against Saginaw Valley State, They plated 10 runs at least in each of them, 13-2 the win last night. Oakland coming into this game hot, and they've continued that stellar play against a Big Ten program. It's not like they're playing Purdue, Fort Wayne, or a GLIAC team anymore. They're playing the Big Ten in a game in Ann Arbor. They have rebounded extremely well from their rocky start to the year.
And that's a Purdue Fort Wayne team that Michigan will face off against, I believe, a week from today, Wednesday, April 6th. Another midweek opponent. Short drives, but this is probably the shortest one for an opponent of the Wolverines. Oakland just down the street in Rochester, Michigan.
Oakland opening Horizon League play. They will play Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Michigan State, Northern Illinois, and Pittsburgh out of conference, which isn't that tough of a schedule given how they've played against Michigan. But Oakland 4-2 already in the Horizon League. They're 10-12 overall after that 3-10 start to the year. Definitely a team to watch as the season progresses. The back half of the season soon to be upon us.
They've only got one other game against a Big Ten opponent. That's Michigan State later this season. But as you mentioned, that Horizon League, Michigan plays plenty of games against a Horizon League opponent, namely Wright State, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Youngstown State. Michigan will also play against Wright State later this season. There'll be a back-to-back one-game stand with Wright State and Xavier as Jimmy Obertop, who sees a strike right down the middle. He's 1 for 1, a homer and a walk. In the top half of the sixth inning, 2 runs for Oakland, 2 hits, 1 man left on base. The 0-1 in there for a strike right at the knees of Jimmy Obertop. And he's in an 0-2 hole against Brandon Decker out there for yet another inning. Here's the 0-2. That's low and outside. He went with the breaking ball for the first time in this AB. And Obertop patient enough to lay off of it. 17 hits for Oakland in this game. The 1-2 was sliced in the left, right at post, and man, he almost dropped that ball as he began back, had to come on late, and the ball just kind of sank in the air. That's another solid contact hit from Obertop, but it just lands in the glove of the left fielder, Cam Post.
And like you said, Zach, that ball just seemed to drop in midair. Cam Post drifted further back, and it looked for a moment that ball might have been able to touch the left field wall and bounce off, but Post played it too far up and back and had to drop and almost drop the ball there.
There's Tito Flores. Little skimpy fly ball into the stands, and that'll be a souvenir for a lucky fan in the Oakland section. And it's kind of funny to see fly balls, especially in somewhat empty stadiums. It was a rainy day outside, so we didn't really expect a massively large crowd. However, in empty stadiums, you'll see mainly kids just attack a ball like flies on an old piece of fruit. Strike 2 to Flores. He swung straight through it. He's in a hole much like Obertop was.
Flores, we haven't seen the production we're used to seeing from him. He does have a walk, does not have a hit yet. He's been swinging hard at these pitches so far today, though.
The 0-2, strike 3, got him looking. First time Flores has gone down on strikes today, but man, has Decker done a fantastic job today against these Michigan bats. It's only his second strikeout, but he has been so good. He struck out his first batter that he saw, Joe Stort, when Michigan was threatening back in the third. And now he has his second strikeout here in the sixth.
Not only has Decker come in and pitched well, but Oakland been able to continue to produce offensively.
High fly ball into left center field off the bat of Joe Stort. And he has been retired for a third consecutive time. Michigan goes down 1-2-3 in 3 consecutive innings. Oakland leading this one 14-4 over the Wolverines in Ann Arbor. And I guess the guess it game is who will take the mound for Michigan next. Willie Weiss, he'll stick it.
Why not at this point? Anyways, with this game, 14-4. Michigan football spring game on Saturday. Excited to see that.
Maize and blue game.
I'm not going to be back here calling a baseball game until April 9th. That's a Saturday against Cal State Fullerton. Excited for that. I only get a limited chance to call baseball games this year since I won't be here past finals week, and that's the part of the year that does extend into May and June in the college baseball season. But games that I've called so far have been fun. The game at Vanderbilt was fun. Games here so far has been fun in terms of if you're a baseball fan. Maybe not if you're a Michigan fan, but it's been really good offensive play, and that's definitely what I like. Unless it's a real pitcher's duel, I'm not really into low-scoring affairs. But
much like others.
14-4 game, 17 hits for Oakland. Love those balls in play.
Now, one of my first games last year that I called for Michigan was a late season game against Maryland, and the Wolverines were trailing by 7 heading into the 9th inning. They came all the way back. They eventually lost in the 11th or 12th inning, but they got a dual sport player, Joey Velasquez, who is still on the team, to pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th inning as the last out, and he singled into center field, and it was this miraculous thing that Joey Velasquez all of a sudden stepped into the box and delivered for the Wolverines. But they're going to need a little bit more than 7 runs today. They trail it by 10. And here's a slapped single into right field off the bat of Brad Goulet, and he continues to get it done. He's 4 for 5 for Oakland.
Oakland continues to manufacture hits, and I wouldn't be surprised if Goulet eventually makes his way home the way that his day has gone. He has been excellent at the plate, and even defensively he's made some nice plays for Oakland.
He scored 2 runs. He was stranded on third after stealing 2 bases. First pitch from Weiss to the 3-hole hitter Cam Post is in there for a strike, breaking ball. 18 hits now for Oakland. Weiss comes set, runner goes, and there's a foul ball.
And you mentioned you transferred in here last year to call your first game. Similar to me, this is my first year at Michigan. It's been a lot of fun to call games for WCBN. Very unique experience that I have not been able to have so far in my life, to be able to come in and pick up press credentials and come up to a press box, have great seats to a game like this. It's been a lot of fun.
The 0-2 from Weiss, a late swing, fouled away. And I guess I'll say my favorite part about it is the free tickets. Once in a while, the free sandwiches that come with it.
By the time this game ends, I might not be able to go to the dining hall to get dinner. I might check out Mr. Spot, see what they got cooking up today.
The 0-2 to Post. Ground ball towards the shortstop, Bertram. I'll flip over to Burton, and a throw to Vanner Mortal at first base. Got him. 6-4-3 double play. Well done by Weiss and the middle infielders, and a beautiful stretch by Vanner Mortal over at first base. 2 gone here in the 7th.
It was a close call there at first base. I was a bit surprised when they called the batter out. It looked like Campos stepped on first base before the throw got there, without the luxury of having a monitor next to us to have instant replay. We'll never get a second look at it, but
Nye puts one high into the air into right field. Clark Elliott under it, and he'll make the catch. And Willie Weiss, after allowing a leadoff single to Brad Goulet, gets a 6-4-3 double play, that is. And then a fly ball into right field off the bat of Nye. And the Wolverines will stretch here in Ann Arbor. They trail it 14-4, heading into the bottom of the 7th.
And that's one of the first times that the top of the Oakland lineup has been retired consecutively. But the surprising thing has been the 6, 7, and 8 hitters are actually what's been powering the lineup. Brenton Phillips, 2 for 4. Jared Miller, 3 for 3. Thomas Green, 3 for 4. In the second spot, Brad Goulet is 4 for 5. But one of the better hitters on the team, Seth Tucker and Cam Post, have not played that well today. Doesn't matter when the bottom of the lineup's producing. That's a hallmark of a team that's going to win games. When the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters are the ones carrying the load, you tend to win games in those scenarios because you don't expect those hitters to play as well as they have for Oakland today.
Brandon Decker is back to the hill for Oakland, the sophomore from North Farmington, transferred in from Concordia University, and the 6'3", 175-pounder, he has certainly done his job here today. as Michigan has now been held scoreless for 3 consecutive frames after getting 3 in the bottom of the third. Decker came on to retire Joe Stort back in the third inning while Michigan was still threatening runs, and that was back when this game was 9-4, so Michigan was well within striking range. It's now been extended to 14-4, a bit more out of reach now for Michigan.
Fans still stretching, playing Mr. Brightside, as every single sport on this campus tends to do at a certain point during the game. Switches to some heavy country music as Riley Bertram steps to the plate, though.
Bertram 0 for 2 today. First pitch from Decker, man. If you wanted to go golfing, that was a nice, relaxed swing, but instead, he whiffed on it 0-1.
I feel like we haven't heard a lot from Bertram today. He's 0 for 2. Had that bobble in the first inning at shortstop.
Hits a chopper foul towards the right side, right out of the outstretched arm of the Michigan first base coach. 4 innings is the deepest that Decker has gone into a game this season. And that was back about 3 weeks ago, March 13th. He's currently 3 1/3 inning into this appearance. He's not allowed a hit yet for Michigan. And there's a fly ball down the left field line, and that'll go foul. We'll stick here at 0-2.
And as our eyes drift to the Michigan bullpen where that foul ball lands, we do have someone warming in the pen behind the light post, so we can't really see who it is.
It's pretty much a guess-it game now. It's a righty, if that helps.
Let's see. Let's see if I can figure it out.
The 0-2. Sliced foul. Same exact spot. There's also another Michigan arm, Ryan Zimmer, who is standing in the bullpen stretching out, but that's not the arm getting loose.
So we do have Keaton Caratini, Tyler Fullman, Chase Allen, who tends to be a starter, Christian Blakely.
Ball barely inside to Riley Bertram. Patient AB.
I don't think they're going to pitch Noah Renard, and then Cameron Weston is the only other right-handed pitcher available. So there are some arms remaining for Michigan, but I'd be surprised with this game so far out of reach that they burn any more contributing pitchers in this game.
The 1-2 is about a ball and a half's widths inside off the plate. 2-2 to Bertram. Faces off against Brandon Decker, the sophomore. And he slaps one up the middle. Will this be the first hit against the youngster? Yes, it is. Right in between Green and Goulet, who were shifting just a tad over to the right. And Bertram leads off the 7th inning with an infield single.
I'd say if Green and Goulet communicated better on that ground ball, one of them could have come up with that ball and make a play on a throw to first, but it looked like neither of them called the other off of that ball, and it gets between them. They both drop it, can't have a play, and Riley Bertram, who worked very well in that at-bat to stay alive with a couple foul balls, his hard work pays off with a base hit.
Fastball up and in to Jack Vanner Mortal. Now playing in his 12th game this season. As I mentioned briefly earlier, coming off of an injury. Wolverines have welcomed him back to the lineup. A 1-for-2 appearance. Just sub 275 now. There's ball 2 into the dirt. Nice block by Heidel behind the dish. And that'll keep Bertram over at first.
There are still those 3 frames left for the Wolverines offensively. They still are down 10 runs, but they've scored more than 14 runs in a game before. Still a shot. If Van Mortal can get on here, nobody out, lineup flips over, maybe.
The 2-0 was a strike. And as you mentioned, 3 different times this season, Michigan scored over 14. The last time they did that was 2 Fridays ago against Dayton right here at Ray Fisher Stadium. They won that game 18-6 in a 3-game sweep over the Flyers. 2-1 to Vanner Mortal. It's a little chopper left side, and it's foul. Towards the Block M logo on the Michigan dugout side. It's now 2-2 to Vanner Mortal.
And if Van Mortal does produce something out of this at bat, do you see a pinch hit opportunity where Casey Buckley maybe gets subbed out, Jimmy Overtop moves from DH to catcher, and then you insert someone in the 9 spot to try and produce some offense?
And I think this is perhaps just a game that Bakich is looking at getting as many guys reps as possible. Here's a 2-2 to Van Mortal. Swung on left side, chopped foul. Oh, beautiful play by the third base coach. It's almost like it's back in his day again.
So maybe you put a pitch hitter up for Casey Buckley, a younger player, get them
Yeah,
at bat.
perhaps.
In a scenario where Jack Van Mortal gets on base, we've seen back-to-back really battling at bats from Bertram and Van Mortal.
Van Mortal barely lays off a curveball that looked really good. Ooh, full count now to Van Mortal. Haven't seen many full counts against Michigan bats. Oakland's seen quite a few. 3-2, no outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Michigan has a runner on first base, trailing 14-4 against the Horizon League's Oakland Golden Grizzlies from Richmond, Michigan. The 3-2. He'll check on the runner Bertram over at first. He slides back in safely. No applied tag from the first baseman Miller. The senior Jack Van Mortal, 6'2", 215 from Carmel, Indiana. He had 2 hits in the season opener against Texas Tech down in Arlington. There's a 3-2, swung on, missed, went upstairs with the fastball. And that's just the 3rd strikeout of the game so far for Decker.
And that high fastball's been the trendy pitch in baseball for the past couple of years. Decker was teasing Van Mortal during that at bat with the off-speed curveballs. Finally goes upstairs, gets him to strike out. Now with Casey Buckley, mound visit to go visit Decker, but Casey Buckley will step up, no pinch hit opportunity for the Wolverines. Bertram still at first.
And they'll take the ball from Jordan Banfield. And this is a well-deserved standing ovation and a smile on the face of Brandon Decker. He did a wonderful job here today for Oakland. We'll get the final stats on him here, and the book's not completely closed on him yet. 3 2/3 innings pitched, only 1 hit allowed. He struck out 3, and the only blemish was 1 wild pitch.
And you mentioned the smile on his face. As a transfer from Concordia College, you have to think that he is extremely happy that he pitched so well against the Michigan Wolverines. Concordia College, obviously in Ann Arbor. So the fact that he goes to Oakland after a season at Concordia, maybe has a fire under him, upset that he was passed over by the Wolverines, comes to Oakland, now comes into Ray Fisher Stadium and pitches really well in over 3 innings of work.
And that'll bring along Chase Keeney for Oakland. Left-hander throwing from about a 3/4 arm angle. Michigan trailing by 10. Bottom of the 7th, time getting a bit bleak for the Wolverines. They do have a runner on first base, however, with 1 out. Let's get you the stats on Chase Keeney. No decision so far on the year. 7 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 7 hits, 7 runs, but only 4 of those being earned. 5 walks to 3 strikeouts and 1 homer. And he'll face the 9 and then 1 hitters as long as Casey Buckley does not ground into a double play.
And he is not throwing hard at all as he's warming up.
I mean, you see that last one, it was registered on the right field scoreboard at 65 miles an hour.
He looks like he labors when he throws the ball.
There's always the slim chance as well that he's holding back during his warm-ups and then will eventually deliver a stronger pitch.
He gets up there to 75. Holding out hope he could have been a knuckleballer.
Don't see too many of those nowadays. I got to see 1 in my time as a baseball fan so far. I really always wanted to go and see R.A. Dickey throw. I got to see Stephen Wright instead from Boston. And I'll tell you what, it's when the Tigers weren't the greatest team in the world, and they struggled mightily against Stephen Wright. Well, here's Casey Buckley. Man, look at that curveball. 68 miles an hour. It just floated past the bat of Buckley.
And we talk about knuckleballers being so rare. I was struggling to remember his name, but it was Baltimore Orioles pitcher Mickey Janis, the last knuckleballer to pitch an inning in MLB. He only got one game, allowed a lot of runs, and he is a career 18.9 ERA pitcher.
I'm just going to sit here and laugh at that curveball. It just landed right into the strike zone. And you wonder why he's throwing so slow. It's because these Wolverine hitters are just like this butterfly is just landing right in the strike zone. It's now 0-2 against Casey Buckley, and he just had to watch that one soar through the strike zone. There's another one, but it's a line drive right field. That'll get down.
You got to think Casey Buckley can tee up one at 66 miles an hour, and he does. Turns on it. Nice single for Buckley. His first hit of the day.
And that base hit will now move Bertram over to third base. Michigan down by 10, but threatening here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The top of the lineup coming up for Clark Elliott. And after 3 consecutive 1-2-3 innings, Michigan finally has some men on base. And that includes Bertram at third and Buckley at first. That was a nice approach, though, by Buckley, working inside out. And that 0-2 pitch as well. 3 straight curveballs.
Took 2 pitches for him to get the timing down, then he turns on one for a nice single.
Shift is applied on Elliott. And there's another curveball. 67 miles an hour right into the strike zone. And I think Elliott, he's thinking the same thing as Buckley. Got to work inside out. And once the timing's right, square it up. The shortstop Green is about 5 feet to the right of second base. And the second baseman, Goulet, is in his typical spot at second base. Curveball lands low.
And we saw Keeney throw a 75-mile-an-hour pitch when he's warming up, but we have not seen anything above about 66 miles an hour in live game action.
You figure maybe he's hiding that to perhaps surprise the Wolverine hitter?
I think right now could be a good spot for it.
Here's the 1-1. And
there you go.
There we go. All right, pitching coach William Gregory. Well, it was a ball, so you're not the highest paid pitching coach in the world. But it's 2-1 to Clark Elliott.
If the location was good, maybe. I mean, it was high. Obviously, trying to throw off Elliott with how many curveballs low he's throwing. It was a good idea. Not great execution from Keeney.
The 2-1. Curveball that's floated into right. This ball's deep. This ball's back, and it is gone. Off the field house and right. A 3-run homer by Clark Elliott cuts the lead in half. It's still a long way to go, but that's a stride the Wolverines needed. It's now 14-7, a 3-run shot by Clark Elliott.
And off a 66-mile-an-hour pitch, Clark Elliott still managed to get that ball out of here with a 101-mile-an-hour exit velocity. That ball was smashed. He was just taking batting practice with that one. I mean, with how slow the pitches from Keeney have been,
What was that average with runners in scoring position again?
We'll see if it gets up to 600 at this point.
3-run homer by Clark Elliott. Here's Ted Burton, and man, that's a high fly ball. Looks like the catcher Heidel's under it. He almost tripped over the bat, and it's foul. That ball was so high it hung in the air for at least 5-6 seconds, and Ted Burton is still alive. That may have been the highest home plate pop-up I have seen in some time.
Clark Elliott with runners in scoring position.
Should I guess?
Yeah, I'll give you.
I won't look at it. I'm going to say 603.
586.
With
runners in scoring position. Still, I mean, 586 with runners in scoring position. You can't get more clutch than that.
The 0-1's outside, 1-1 to Burton.
And Elliott delivering that 3-run shot brings the Wolverines back within single digits, 7 runs.
Curveball clips the high and outside part of the corner. Burton says he doesn't like it. 1-2.
And Keeney's still just throwing BP to the Wolverines. With 1 out in the inning, you might expect the Wolverines to turn on another one.
The 1-2 ground ball towards the shortstop Green. Eagle scoop flies over to first. Got him by just about a step. Ted Burton's retired, and now it will be Matt Fry with 2 outs in the 7th.
Fry, a very disciplined hitter. We've talked about it today. He has 21 walks to only 15 strikeouts. Very rare in this era of baseball that you see a hitter with that many more walks than strikeouts, especially as a freshman. And you'd expect Fry to show tremendous discipline in this at-bat, facing a pitcher like Keeney, where you'd expect to be able to diagnose what he's throwing fairly easy compared to other pitchers that Fry has seen so far today.
That first pitch from Keeney just sat right through the strike zone for a strike. Do you think that's a changeup that he's throwing?
Well, that one was 70.
70. There's a curveball at 67 that missed outside.
I think he's got a fastball at 75, changeup at 70, curveball at 65. I think if I got in there and I started locating my pitches, maybe I go to Oakland.
Here's a line drive into center field. Tucker seems under it, and he'll promptly wait and make the catch. And so the first lefty of the inning retired is Fry, and that will end the inning. We'll head to the top of the 8th. Michigan gets a 3 spot in bottom of the 7th inning. 14-7 Oakland.
There's still a shot for Michigan to come back 14-7. You just need whatever pitcher comes out for the Wolverines to keep that scoreless inning streak going. You got 5 frames in which Oakland put up at least a run. In the 4th and the 7th, they did not score. Now they have 2 innings left to try and put some more insurance runs on the board. And I say insurance runs like they don't already have 14 runs scored. But that's just the way this game has gone. It seems like any team can score at will.
The book has finally been closed on Brandon Decker. And a fantastic afternoon will turn just a little bit. 3 2/3 innings pitched. Only 1 hit, 1 run, and 3 strikeouts. And here's Chase Allen. He'll take over on the mound, and well, my scorebook has now run out of spots to put pitchers. The 8th arm the Wolverines have used today. I'm not lying. You can take a peek.
And I did say Chase Allen was primarily a starter when I was looking at the Michigan roster, trying to search for a right-handed pitcher that hasn't thrown today. But he's going to come out and pitch. He's got 2 starts on the year, 24 2/3 innings pitched, 3-0, an ERA of 3.65. So he's a good pitcher that Coach Bakich is sending out there in a game that could be said is a foregone conclusion. But it looks like they're going to go for maybe a 6-out closing job for Chase Allen.
Perhaps. Final line on Willie Weiss. 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. A lot of arms used today, but perhaps this is a good quote-unquote warm-up for the weekend against a tough Iowa team that will be surely contending for the Big Ten championship. And they'll have a 3-game set starting Friday at 4 p.m.
So you probably pitch Allen today, then maybe you start him on what, Sunday, Saturday?
If he were to start a game this weekend, that'd probably be my best bet.
And then you pitch O'Halloran in one of those spots, then trying to place who that 3rd starter would be. Seen so many different openers in the weekday games. Logan Allen pitched today. Walker Cleveland pitched in the game against Vanderbilt. He didn't last too long in that one. Seems like Michigan is content on saving their top 3 starters for the weekend sets instead of the weekday games.
So we'll have a pinch hitter now for Oakland. That's number 9, Ian Cleary. His first swing is fouled off towards the left field line.
Almost broke a window in Yost.
Cleary takes over for Michael Steigels. Second pitch is a ball.
And Cleary, statistically, has been one of, if not the best hitter up there with Brandon Nye on the season, and he laces one.
Now laced down the left field line towards Flores at the track, and he makes a nice backpedaling catch. And that'll retire the pinch hitter Cleary.
Cleary, 41 at-bats, 293, 453, 732 slash line. That's a massive 732 slug. Walks almost as much as he strikes out, but puts a charge into that ball into left field. Lucky that Tito Flores was back there for the out.
In the top of the 8th inning here in Ann Arbor, swung on and missed for Brenton Phillips as he faces off against the 6'6" sophomore from Littleton, Colorado, Chase Allen. He threw a scoreless inning and collected his first two career strikeouts in that lone win in Arlington against Kansas State. Here's a floater down the right field line and past the diving Elliott. Extra bases for Phillips as a throw comes into the infield, not even close to in time. There's a triple as he slides in safely. His hand did come off the bag for a second, but he's in there safe.
How often
3 for 5 day now.
How often do you see 3 triples in one game?
Especially all from the same team? Not very often.
Speaking of triples, the next guy up, Jared Miller's got one today too.
Back in the third inning. Chase Allen will have to settle back in on the hill.
And Brenton Phillips, now a home run away from the cycle. He's got a single, double, and triple.
Think perhaps we'll see him again?
I don't know if he hits a homer, but it's a possibility we see him again.
The last appearance Chase Allen made, he struck out 5 batters in 3 innings pitched. And he earned the win against Nebraska on the Saturday game. Made his debut last season against Maryland. First pitch is low and inside.
We talked about how it was interesting how the Oakland lineup was constructed. If you look at these players' batting averages now, this game has lifted their averages single-handedly from the low 200s up to the mid 200s, and even for Thomas Green, the shortstop, he started the game at 277s, now it got a 314 average.
Bouncer to the right side, and safely coming into home is Brenton Phillips. He scores, but the umpires are coming in to have a chat. And so they're going to call that last one foul. The third base umpire today, who is Thomas Burrell Jr., said that ball bounced off home plate. And so returning to third base is Brenton Phillips. That would have been an RBI for the pinch hitter, Gabe Lux. He'll now have a 1-1 count. So much to the dismay of the Oakland first baseline dugout, 14-7 remains the lead for the Golden Grizzlies. They now have 19 hits on the day compared to Michigan's 8. Here's the 1-1 from Allen. Nice delivery, swung on and missed. It's 1-2.
And for those wondering, even though his name is G. Lux, Gabe Lux is not related to the Dodgers' second baseman, Gavin. Thought that as soon as I saw his name, that's a bit interesting that possibly the brother of that player is going here, but not the brother of Gavin Lux.
And this ball is a hit by pitch, and Lux will make his way down to first base. And man, does Brenton Phillips really want to score from third base? He was about halfway home thinking that was a passed ball. Now runners on the corners for Thomas Green.
Green, he has played excellently so far today, hitting in that 8 spot, 3 for 4, now up to a 314 average. Like I said, raised it from a 277 entering this game. He is 300 with runners in scoring position, 323 with runners on.
2 different arms now getting warmed up in the bullpen for the Wolverines. Jalen Jones being one of those, freshman. Along with Ryan Zimmer. He got up earlier, the sophomore right-hander. So a left and a right-hander getting loose for Michigan, as Thomas Green currently at the dish. He's 3 for 4, runners on the corners, 1 out in top 8. Nice pitch by Allen, 91 miles an hour, who laced the outside corner of the strike zone.
And as we close down this game, I'm looking at the forecast. There's supposed to be a light rain starting in about a half an hour, some heavier rain after that.
We're probably going to be here for all of it, considering how long this game's already been. Swung on, missed. Beautiful breaking ball by Allen. He slowed that one down about 11 miles an hour. And he's now got Green in a hole at 0-2. He is 3 of 4 today. Reached on an error 1 time. Allen from the stretch stands straight up. Brings the set at the belt. Slide step, delivers home, and a fake throw down to second base will not catch Gabe Lux. Brennan Phillips did not come off the bag, and that was the call from Eric Bakich to have the fake throw and check down the third. And it's an easy stolen bag for Lux.
And it's been a running theme this game to talk about the Oakland Golden Grizzlies' speed on the base paths. That is Gabe Luck's 6th stolen base on the year as he steals second. So many batters have the ability to steal bases for Oakland.
Here's a ground ball towards the second baseman. Burton comes home, and now there is a situation on the third base side as they'll tag out the runner at third, Brenton Phillips. The throw down to second base will not get Thomas Green. As the runner from second base, Lux, had made his way over to third to ensure his safety. Brenton Phillips got caught, and I'm sure that'll have a bit of a talk in the locker room between Lux and Phillips on who would remain safe at that point. But that'll bring up Heidel with runners at first and second base now. Well done by the second baseman Burton to stop that run from scoring. Michigan still has 6 outs to work with in this ball game, but they're trailing by 7. They'll need a fantastic offensive appearance in the final 2 innings.
Still got to get out of this one, though.
Ground ball to the shortstop, Bertram. Fires over to first base. Vandermortel makes the catch. And Chase Allen escapes that inning with no damage done. Michigan still trails by 7, 14-7 here in Ann Arbor, but they've got a chance. I've seen it happen before here at Ray Fisher. Can they do it again? And it'll be with a pitching change for the Grizzlies. So Oakland now on the day, 19 hits compared to Michigan's 8. In that last inning, 1 hit, no runs, and they left 2 runners on base. They left Lux at third and Green at second. In Oakland, albeit they have 14 runs, they have left 7 runners on base as well.
And without looking at who this pitching change is, give me a guess. It's a starter from the Oakland lineup. He's a position player.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's Brandon Nye.
Is it now?
Brandon Nye has been inserted as a reliever. He does have on his...
Now I'm looking at the roster, and I'm like, why is there no number 13 on the roster? It's because he is the starter.
He's a pitcher. He's in there for Oakland. He has been great today with the bat, 2 for 4. And it's definitely no wonder why he plays third base with an arm like that if he's a pitcher.
So Lux is at first base. Brandon Nye, who is playing third base. And there's also a couple other changes for Oakland. Looks like 45, Luke Malmanger will head to third base. And you're right, Nye will be pitching.
And Malmanger's still a senior, so Oakland actually becomes older and more experienced with Malmanger subbing into the lineup to replace Nye. It's just been one of those crazy games. A lot of different fun things going on for Oakland so far tonight.
And Brandon Nye has pitched a few games this season. 3 2/3 innings pitched. He's 0-1. 2 hits, 3 earned runs. Here he faces Michigan's perhaps best hitter in Jimmy Obertop. There's ball 1 high. Man, is that a switch up? They go from 75 for a fastball in the gun to 87. Second pitch catches the strike zone, 1-1 against Obertop, who's 1 for 2 today, has a homer. From the windup, Nye delivers, and there's the ball. So he is throwing much harder than the previous pitcher, Chase Keeney.
That was something else to watch Keeney pitch. Consistent 65-mile-an-hour curveballs.
2-1 is floated out of play by Obertop. He evens the count at 2-2.
And now Nye comes in throwing 87 miles an hour with his fastball. Like I said, it's no wonder he plays third base with an arm like that. Comes into this game, has to immediately face Jimmy Obertop. What a change it must be for him to go from playing the field to face the Michigan best hitter.
2-2 the curveball that just missed the strike zone high. And you're right about that forecast. It does look cloudy and perhaps going to be rainy here in Ann Arbor in quite some time. Strike 3 got Obertop looking. And Jimmy takes a long look back at the umpire, Mike Martin.
From the way he sold it, I thought he really did get walked. But you were talking about the weather. I feel like we've seen everything today. I woke up this morning, there was frost on the ground. Come here, sun comes out.
It's like summer.
Beautiful. And then we're probably going to get some thunderstorm or something later tonight.
Welcome to pure Michigan. Here's Tito Flores. And he skies one in the left center field. That's a high fly ball. Tucker under it, nearing the track, and he'll make the catch.
Nye
1 and 2 down.
He's working very quickly so far. Along with Decker, these two pitchers for Oakland have pitched really well. I mean, we've only seen 2 at bats, but Joe Stewart, 1 for 3 today.
A bit of an abysmal day for Tito Flores.
He has not played well.
He's 0 for 3 with a walk. He advanced on a pass ball back in the third, in which Michigan scored 3 runs. Here's Joe Stewart, 1 for 3. He sees a strike. Tito's taken some big hacks at pitches today. He's just not made solid contact. There's strike 2 to Stewart.
That's that all or nothing approach we see from a lot of power hitters. Big swings and misses, not a lot of walks.
The 0-2. Ball just outside. Nye just almost painted the corner.
Look at Nye. He is pitching great, and he finally gets that ball up to 88 miles an hour. That's the fastest we've seen from him.
Nye from the windup, the 1-2. Curveball that smacked the left, and that's foul. That may be the furthest traveled ball of the day, but man, they didn't hook foul off the bat of Joe Stewart.
105 mile an hour exit velocity on that pitch. Brandon Nye might want to lay off that 75 mile an hour curveball.
It's not 65. Here's the 1-2. Swung on, missed. High fastball, got him on strikes.
Second time a high fastball has retired a Michigan hitter on strikes. Like I said, it's become the trendy pick for put away pitches in baseball. Power hitters can't really lay off it the way it drifts upwards. Gives the illusion that it's going to just sit over the strike zone, over the middle of the plate, comes up with the movement. And Brandon Nye comes in from third base. He's put together a complete game tonight, 2 for 4 with the bat, and then a nice top of the 8th inning pitching, bottom of the 8th inning, excuse me. And now Oakland and Michigan down to one final inning, separated by 7 runs.
Now we'll head to the final frame, 9th inning. Chase Allen back to the hill for the Wolverines. And if you're keeping score at home, the final line on Chase Keeney for Oakland as he pitched in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks. For Chase Allen, he had to battle out of some trouble in the top half of the 8th inning, which ended up being a scoreless inning. So every 4 innings, there's been a scoreless inning. Back in the 4th, double zeros. Back in the 8th inning, double zeros. All other innings have essentially been controlled by Oakland. Michigan shut out the Golden Grizzlies in the 7th. They scored 3 of their own. Back in the 3rd, Michigan had 3, Oakland had 2. But Oakland's won every other inning. The 1st inning, 6-0. 2nd inning, tied 1-1. 5th inning, 3-0 Oakland. 6th inning, 2-0 Oakland. That's given them a 14-7 lead.
The scoring has definitely slowed down as we've moved through this game, aided in part by the dismal 4, 5, and 6 frames for the Wolverines, not scoring any runs in that time frame. And now they back themselves into a quarter, needing this 9th inning to be perfect to have any sort of chance.
Squaring to bunt was the leadoff man, Tucker. He remains in the game. He's 1 for 4 today. Now you're right, 13 runs in the first 3 innings combined, then 8 runs from then on out. Here's a pop fly towards the right field line and foul, out of play.
Seth Tucker, prototypical leadoff hitter. 333 average, 431 on base percentage, and he has those 11 stolen bases. That's all the production that you would want from somebody hitting first.
Nice pitch by Chase Allen, right by the swinging bat of Tucker. It's 1-2. Allen looking to be the final of the 8 arms that Michigan's put out there today. A check swing, did he go? No, sir.
And we said when he came into the game, possibly a 6-out 2-inning closing situation. I know he's not really closing. He's not up for the opportunity to save this game, but all functions the same way on the pitching end.
2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. There's a throw down to first for Buckley over to Van Mortal, and there is a strikeout for Chase Allen, his first of the game.
Goulet's coming up. He's played really well, 4 for 5 today.
Single, single, double, single. 7 strikeouts now on the day for Wolverine pitching. First pitch to Goulet is a chopper towards the left field side, foul. Nowhere close to being in play as Fry will go over and toss it back to the bullpen.
With the way things are going in Goulet's speed, could we see a 4th triple for the Golden Grizzlies?
The 0-1, ground ball left side. This is a fair ball into the glove of Fry. Nice play across his body. Stepping on first base is Van Mortal, and 2 retired here in the 9th.
I'll tell you what, Matt Fry, as a freshman, is a big future piece of this Michigan Wolverines baseball team. He does so many different things well. He's got excellent place discipline. We see there him flashing his glove at third base, a premium defensive position. He does a lot of things well for the Wolverines. Moving forward, he should continue to do them even better.
Here's Cam Post batting. And look at that, in the batting on deck circle is Brandon Nye, the pitcher.
Got a regular Shohei Ohtani over here.
Huh? 4 of 6 today, or excuse me, 1 of 5. The scoreboard has yet to update. Cam Post is now ahead in the count, 3-0 to Chase Allen. He missed badly with that last pitch. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Golden Grizzlies have a 14-7 lead over the Wolverines at Ray Fisher Stadium on a gloomy Wednesday afternoon. They're strike 1.
Cam Post looks to be hunting for a walk. He walks as much as he strikes out. Has yet to record a base on balls today.
3-1 is a ground ball sharply towards the shortstop Bertram. Cleans this one up nicely. Throw over to Van Mortal, and that will end the 9th inning. Michigan's got a long way to go in the bottom of the 9th inning. They've got 3 outs to work with, trailing by 7, 14-7. It's a 1-touchdown lead for Oakland heading into the 9th inning.
If only Oakland ever played Michigan in football, that'd be something.
Well, that'd be unfair. They don't even field a football team.
Just get the club out there. But Chase Allen, showing why he is a true starting pitcher in the Michigan rotation. He's been the best pitcher today, in my opinion.
And Brandon Nye will head back out there for his 2nd inning of work.
Well, we'll see. If Brandon Nye goes 1, 2, 3, I'd say he has been the player of the game for Oakland. With his 2 hits, and if he does pitch 2 shutout innings, already has 2 strikeouts. He's just been great. He's done everything well.
Yeah. At the plate, home run, single, walk. He did strike out and then fly out.
That is a Shohei Ohtani stat line. Maybe if you pitch a little deeper into the game. I saw Ohtani on August 18th come to Comerica. He pitched 8 innings, 1-run ball, hit a home run that actually lifted the Angels into the lead. He completely single-handedly won that game. I've never seen a baseball player do that.
A little bit different for Brandon Nye and the Golden Grizzlies today, as they have racked up 19 hits. It's not like the Wolverines have given the Golden Grizzlies this win with walks or errors, although they do have 2 errors on the spot. 19 hits across the squad for Oakland. Man, has it been a great day for the Golden Grizzlies.
19 hits in the last 3 innings. They really didn't produce much. They haven't scored since the 6th. They still put 14 runs on the board.
Well, here's Riley Bertram. First pitch to him is a strike. 86 on the gun off the arm of Nye. Right-hander works from the middle of the rubber. Delivers the 0-1. Strike 2.
And Michigan
being really patient.
Michigan again unlucky, getting the bottom of the lineup in a crucial spot once again. They had it last inning.
Bertram, the left-handed batter, no gloves, waits on the 0-2. Fouled away. right off Yost. That's one of the lucky spots they put the netting up to protect the glass.
I was wondering what was there. It's like the window bounced it off like rubber.
The 0-2 again. Nice piece of hitting, left side, and that's through the gap. Leadoff single for Riley Bertram, barely squeezed by the glove of Green.
Green was playing close to second base there. That's why I think that ball got past him. If he was playing more within the gap between second and third base, I think he had a better play at that. But Bertram squeezes it by. Michigan, maybe? Van Remortel?
Van Remortel is 1 for 3 today. Base hit, fly out, and strikeout. And Riley Bertram at first base. Last time he was on base, he scored. That was in the 7th inning. There's ball 1, barely outside. And as I mentioned, Mike Martin, the home plate umpire, has called that a strike most of the day, maybe just a bit outside for his liking.
That looked very outside to me, and it looked like Nye was being smart about that 75-mile-an-hour curveball, getting it off the plate.
The 0-1 is another breaking ball. That's just low. And Heidel had to go down for it. 1-1. Or he did call it a strike.
That first pitch was a strike. I thought that was way outside. I was surprised when that was a called strike.
Nye a long pause, delivers, fly ball, foul. 7-run game. Oakland 14, Michigan 7. Van Remortel now in a 1-2 hole. We send our best Wednesday wishes to everyone listening live for WCBN's coverage. I'm Zach Linfield, William Gregory, closing it out here in Ann Arbor in the 9th inning. There's ball 2 to Jack Van Remortel upstairs. Runner on first base. Michigan potentially looking to threat Oakland here in the 9th. They got a long ways to go. 7-run deficit here in the bottom of the 9th inning. No outs, 2-2 count for Van Remortel, 1 for 3 on the day. Nye comes set and delivers. Fly ball foul. Continuing to fight. Pitch count at about 20 now for Nye.
Nye showing some cracks against Van Remortel and Bertram. Had a great 8th inning of relief. And I talked about how if he put together another scoreless frame here, might as well be named player of the game for his offensive performance. But let's see if he can get Van Remortel out.
2-2, laced right back up the middle. That's another base hit. Runners now on first and second base, and it looks like it'll be a pinch hitter for the Wolverines, Jordan Rogers. It looks like Casey Buckley will take a seat for the rest of the game. And I mean, perhaps you're talking about it. Jordan Rogers, he'll either move to the outfield or go to DH, and you'd assume if somehow the Wolverines get to this 10th inning that Jimmy Obertop would shift to catcher. Runners now on first and second base for the Wolverines.
And I feel like a real color commentator now. I called that one, that pitch.
Just a AB too late.
I called the catcher substitution at a bat too late, but I like to think that I have a little bit of baseball knowledge for somebody that didn't play for too long. Rogers not necessarily a much better hitter than Buckley. I saw him in Vanderbilt. He started that game.
Well, here's the first pitch from Nye. Laced back to the screen.
And the thing about Rogers, he also has the ability to catch. He's played DH a lot and he catches. So maybe you still keep Obertop in at the DH slot.
Sure.
You have Rogers catch. I mean, that's if Michigan scores 7 runs and this game goes to extras, but
played all 3 games in the Nebraska series, started all 3. The 0-1, that's in the dirt. Had 2 RBIs in the Friday matchup against the Cornhuskers. That included a double. One and 1 against Jordan Rogers. 5'9" catcher DH. He'll split one towards the third baseman. Third baseman Malmanger will not make the throw over to first after relaying it to the second baseman Goulet, but that's one retired now in the 9th inning. So you'll take anything you can get at this point if you're Oakland.
Definitely not the best outcome in a pinch hitting scenario for Rogers to nearly ground into a double play there. They do move Bertram to third base. You got Clark Elliott coming up. The lineup turns over, only one out. Clark Elliott 2 for 4, hit that 3-run shot in the 7th inning. That ball was towering off the slower pitches of Chase Keeney. He was something else. They still have his name up there.
And this is Brandon Nye. 2 for 4 is Elliott. First pitch he sees is a strike. Fastball just in the strike zone.
And we've seen Elliott take first pitch strikes in all of his at-bats so far today. He struck out looking in the 1st inning when he led off. Took a pitch looking against Keeney. Swings on this
fly ball into the infield. And the shortstop Green will make the catch. 2 gone here in the 9th.
Surprised Bertram didn't at least try to tag on that. I mean, 2 outs. Probably wasn't deep enough, but at this point you got to take risks to try and spark something.
Last chance for Michigan. 2 outs here in the 9th. 14-7 is Oakland's lead. Runners on the corners. The junior from Huntington Beach, California, is the last line of defense for the Wolverines. Number 8 overall MLB draft prospect in the Big Ten, according to D1 Baseball. 1 for 4 on the day, 2 RBIs and a run plated. First pitch is a line drive foul out of the stadium. It was a rainy early afternoon on a Wednesday. Turned into sunshine and back to a little bit gloomy. We're about 10 minutes away from 7:30 here in Ann Arbor. The 0-1 is left upstairs. Getting out of his crouch is Heidel. Now 1-1.
Second half of this game definitely picked up compared to the first. It took 2 hours to get halfway through this game. Only about an hour and a half for the second half. Not too bad.
We're well over 3 hours now into this ball game. 7-run deficit for Michigan. Runner goes. Burton flies it towards the right field side and foul out of play.
That's the one you got to think about hitting your car. Coming all the way down. It's going to reach terminal velocity hitting your windshield.
Oh, goodness. The 1-2. Michigan down to their last strike. Oakland looking to improve to 11-12 on the season. The delivery is high and the free bag stolen by Jordan Rogers for the Wolverines. He's now at second base.
And that's the type of the pitch high that kind of throws off the rhythm. The catcher's already standing up to try and corral that one. You really might just want to let Jordan Rogers go in case of an errant throw to second base, allowing Bertram to score from third, and that's when the problems break free.
The 2-2, right back at us, foul ball. Now you gotta wonder what the chance would be that we'd somehow get a foul ball in our press box. We're looking at just about eye level of the height of the net. There's an overhang above us, so there's a slim chance that it'd ever come back here.
I'm trying to track it in my head. It's got a spin like that foul ball.
Michigan students, we can figure it out.
I'm not a physics student. I'm purely liberal arts.
Here's the 2-2 to Burton. Ball 3, full count.
But Burton, that last foul ball had quite a bit of spin off of it, so I think if he spun it over the net and somehow the backspin got it in here, I could see it happening. But
plus our window isn't open.
All the way through here.
It's got about, 6-7 inches maybe? Here's a 3-2. Strike 3, got him looking. That's the ball game.
That was low. Not like it was a huge swing in this one being down 7 runs, but that looked like a ball low, called strike, game over. Ted Burton strikes out looking.
Michigan threatens in the bottom of the 9th inning. They leave 2 men on, and Ted Burton strikes out looking in a full count, and that's the ball game. Oakland wins this one 14-7. 19 hits in this ball game compared to Michigan's 10. The Wolverines 2 errors compared to the Golden Grizzlies 0. And they're going to need to hit the reset button before this weekend series, a big 3-game set against Iowa.
This game Michigan was out of sorts in this game, completely different from what we expect from them throughout the season. I think a big part of that was the heavy reliance on freshman pitching within the first couple innings. Logan Wood, the lefty, started his first collegiate start. Did not pitch well. Golden Soft comes in, Avery Golden Soft. Not a great outing either, but it's kind of what you expect.
So Michigan on the Friday game here against Iowa, they would expect to start Connor O'Halloran, and it's going to be a big 3-game series. Michigan back into Big Ten play. They're currently 2-1, now 13-11 on the season. And we're talking about the Big Ten standings. Purdue at 1-0, Rutgers 2-1, Michigan 2-1, Illinois 2-1, and then a couple of teams at 1-2, namely MSU, Nebraska, and Penn State. However, Iowa, they have yet to play a Big Ten game. This is a big chance for the Wolverines to grab a couple more games. You'd like them to go 2-1 or perhaps get a sweep over the Hawkeyes to allow the Wolverines to propel themselves into lone holding first place in the Big Ten. They're going to have to do something different, and it's going to start with pitching for the Wolverines on Friday.
Even with the rough early start to the year, there's still a shot with how many games that are left in the year that Michigan could finish on top of the Big Ten fairly easily. The talent's there, just the pitching has to come together for it to happen. So far this year, what has happened has not inspired a lot of confidence, though.
Now, I got to ask you, of course, your player of the game today.
Brandon Nye, definitely. I mean, we talked about it. Home run, 2 hits, 2 scoreless innings. Great day for the freshman.
And on Michigan's side, you give it to Clark Elliott with the 3-run bomb?
Definitely, he pitched well. Sorry, it's been.
I think you were about to sneeze or something.
I have been having a coughing problem.
Oh.
We've got about 3.5 hours calling this game. No water. Gets to again.
I could always share mine with you. Final score of today's game: Oakland 14, Michigan 7. The winner today, Brandon Decker, he improves to 2-1. Logan Wood getting his first collegiate start. He falls to 0-2. Only 2 2/3 innings pitched. That's all 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He struck out 2. And, I mean, if you're talking about efficient striking out, you've got it. 2/3 of an inning, 2 strikeouts. From William Gregory, I'm Zach Linfield. Michigan back on Friday against against Iowa for a 3-game set. WCBN will be inside Ray Fisher Stadium for all 3 games, bringing you coverage. Tune in on Saturday as well for the Michigan football spring game, Maize versus Blue, coming off a college football playoff appearance. Will, you've got your coughing problem. I'll be over here. Good night, everybody, and go Blue.